Welcome back. I'm Jackie Jing, and I'm with Veli and Jesse. Another major spot clinched, and now we move on to some Group B action here. Tempo Storm versus eUnited. So just to recap, everybody, eUnited lost to the Sonics, so now they are here. Yep. Let's talk about this specific matchup. Veli, you gave this series a special title before the break.
Yeah, you know what though? Like even though I said that, I still think that the players on this team are great. Some of them do need to step it up, but this is a really important matchup, and it's probably the most important matchup in all of NAL so far, right? So after talking to Face It and how this works and really narrowing down the importance of this matchup, the loser of this for stage 2, they're gonna get 8th place. They're gonna be at the bottom. And what that means is they're going to be matched up against the number 1 team when the next stage starts. So in order to avoid that and have a better chance in the standings when it comes to anything else for next stage, you have to win this. And not only that, but you have to win this because you still have a fighting chance to be in the qualifiers for our next event.
Yeah, like...
Sorry, Jesse, go.
I just wanted to make it clear, like, the losers are not getting relegated, but still, you don't want to be last because your seeding next stage matters a lot, and you don't want to be last seed going into stage 2.
No, Jesse, thank you for emphasizing that. And Jesse, I said this towards the top of the show that I low-key was more excited about this matchup because I feel like there's so much pressure to not be ranked last. Like, nobody wants that, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think that for both these teams, they think like pretty high of themselves. I know I talked to Tempo Storm pretty recently, and they feel they're nowhere near this level of play. They deserve to be thought of as a lot better than what their results have shown. I'm sure eUnited think that as well. I mean, obviously, people said a lot about eUnited, so I'm sure they're a team that are wanting to prove people wrong. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of heart thrown into this game.
All right, well, very quickly, let's check in with our casters, Blue and Stokes. And gentlemen, how are we feeling about this battle of the teams at the bottom of Group B? Hi, guys.
Hello. How's it going? Pretty good, I hope. Yeah, well, this matchup is very much like going to have to be a story of which team made the most improvements. United obviously having much less time to make those improvements, given that their most recent match was just the other day. But for Tempo, of course, having played almost a week ago now for the last time, they'll hopefully have had plenty of time to look back at their most recent matchup, take a look at the things that went wrong, and patch that up. For eUnited, they really need to do that, especially from their attacking side. I was just looking at the stats once again, and they only won 2 attacking rounds out of all 3 of the maps they played the other day. So that, kind of writes off 1/2 of their entire strat right now if they haven't been able to make improvements to that, and that could be very, very bad. So we're going to have to see which team is going to be in better shape up for this match.
Funny enough that you bring that up, because looking through those stats on, what they win percentage-wise on both sides, eUnited actually has a 26.2% chance to win their offensive rounds right now, and Tempo Storm only has a 32.4% chance to win their offensive rounds right now. So both of these teams very defense-oriented. They need to fix up those offenses, or I can see this being a long, drawn-out match that possibly no one can win. I don't really know.
All right, gentlemen. Well, we're certainly excited for it. Also, props to the shirt game. Our casters continuing to kill it in the fashion department. All right, gentlemen. My analysts, Veli, Jesse, let's talk about this matchup. You want to start with Tempo Storm? Let's start with Tempo Storm?
Yes,
okay.
let's do Tempo.
Okay, so Tempo hasn't hit their groove. They signed Sloppy and Mark a few months ago, and Jesse, have they been pulling their weight? You can be mean. Be honest here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I think they've been playing fine. I think a lot of the players on Tempo Storm have been playing fine. You can definitely, you can say some things about Mark and his inconsistency, and we have so far on the show, in previous weeks. But I think as a whole, Tempo Storm have been doing better than their results show. I had a chat with Ken's the coach of Tempo Storm the other day, and he talked to me about how they've been mostly dealing with communication issues, how this season has been one where they're discovering a lot of issues they didn't realize they had kind of coming into the season, whether that's late round IGLing, whether that's the mood of the team as things start to go south. And he thinks they've made some improvements there. I think obviously the coaching and the analytics staff of Tempo Storm putting a lot of work behind the scenes for this team, and I think that's something that is hard to highlight, of course. So yeah, I don't know. Tempo Storm have obviously not really found wins this season. They've lost every single game. But particularly in that first split, they did look good. They really did, despite not winning a map. And so I think they've got their problems, absolutely. They're not at the top of the league, and they don't deserve to be thought of as one of the best teams. But like, I anticipate them to come out and look pretty good in this matchup.
One thing I will say, Jack, if we seriously have to throw a positive in there, especially on Cafe, I was a fan of some of their role changes. It was really refreshing to see Crazy in the thick of the action. I really loved how they didn't have a problem when it came to getting kills. They just had a problem of playing in those roles and working together to win as a team, because that was really their biggest issue. I mean, they really look comfortable in those new spots. So I'm hoping that with some time of practice in their new positions, that they can really show us what they're really capable of.
Well, look at these positive polys we have
Positive
here.
poly.
I thought we were going to get Veli the villain, and I was like, nope. He's like, let me point out the positive here. Okay, all right, y'all feeling Tempo Storm today. Veli, I do want to talk to you about this, though. You've questioned Tempo Storm dropping Butters in the past. I've heard you bring it up a few times. Do you think that this current lineup possibly has chemistry issues, or what would you say their main weakness is? I'm putting you in the villain spot.
No, that's fine.
I'm putting
That's
you
fine.
in there.
And that like, this is really no position to be a villain in, because so you take a look at Tempo. They came into tier 1 with Butters and Filthy, right? Filthy didn't cut it as an entry fragger. Butters apparently didn't cut it because they replaced him. I'm really shocked about that. But like I said before, they were getting kills. It's just playing to win they had a problem with. I don't think it's chemistry issues. Just sometimes teams don't work. And you just have to just accept that fact. And hopefully they can prove me wrong, because if they continue to fail, they really have to look at the make of this team, in my opinion, so they can succeed, because they're way better than this.
Yeah, and I think that,
Sorry.
like, especially the roster changes, the roster changes coming into the season, and then the role changes just recently, right?
It's tough.
There's going to be a lot of that. It's really tough, right? So especially Sloppy coming in, we saw him on Hard Breach last time. I expect they're going to keep on playing with these, and you can criticize the roles maybe not working in their last matchup, but ultimately, like, there's so much going on behind the scenes that, like, we can't definitively say that this player needs to be on map role, this needs to happen here. It's really hard to see from the few maps we've seen from Tempo Storm, who have played the least maps out of any team this season.
I will say this, they're not Space Station Gaming at all. But remember how bad Space Station played when they picked up Canadian and Folks at first. Just saying, it takes time.
Yeah, it does take time. Man, Veli, when you said sometimes teams just don't work, that hit me,
it's the truth.
man. That hit me. It is the truth. So I guess we'll see what Tempo Storm will bring us. But really quickly, we have a quick video on Tempo Storm, so roll the tape.
The strongest team that we found on stage 1, I will say, were TSM.
There was a lot of close rounds that I feel like could have gone either way, but they were the big dogs and we just couldn't close them out.
Because they are one of the most prepared team at the moment.
Going into phase 2, the team's optimistic.
As long as we fix our faults that we had going into the first stage of the division, I think we're pretty evenly matched with any other team in the league.
We're just thinking about, like, what can we do to learn from our mistakes and get a W.
We've changed a couple things over the past few weeks, changing how we do things internally with setups and overall play style of the team. So we're feeling optimistic. Chemistry is we always try and keep it like light. We try and not focus on the bad things so much during a game. Just keep the vibes up, keep everybody happy.
It's important to make your teammates your friends and not your friends your teammates. Everybody on our team are friends with each other, and not because we were friends before, but because of what we've done along the way.
Everyone feels like, yo, no matter what happens, we can always turn it around. We got this. It's not over until it's over.
I see a lot of players that are really talented, but the teams that win are generally ones who work better together. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Best team that will match against us will be Disrupt Gaming, because they are like a new lineup, like us basically. We feel comfortable playing against them.
DJ or Sonics, just because we had lost to them both previously, and we want to show with some of the changes we made on the team that was just a mistake. We can definitely do better.
We definitely have some things to work on just like any other team, but I'm confident that we could work out our faults.
We're just taking one game at a time, and we just want to win. And whoever is in our way is the team that we want to beat.
Okay. We were all just saying that we liked that video. First of all, the in unison arm Can we do that? 3, 2.
No more that esports arm fold.
I don't know
Okay.
about this.
No.
I know about this.
We tried. But
How did that become
it's
a
always
thing?
I don't know, the in unison arm fold. Anyway, I digress. Let's talk about eUnited. Y'all ready? Okay. Jesse, I'm putting you in the hot seat first.
Yeah.
I'm looking at eUnited's record. There's a lot that they need to work on. But you specifically want to look at how they handle their opening engagements.
Yeah, they typically do get in those open engagements earlier than most teams. They're averaging around that like 2-minute mark, so 1 minute into the round. They find themselves in those opening engagements. They got a 41% win rate overall in those opening engagements, which is pretty bad to do that. And then when they do win those opening engagements, they're only getting like 60% of the time they'll win the round, which is better than what I said about them 2 days ago. That stat I mentioned, on Monday, and it was lower, but it's still the lowest of the league. So eUnited have to step it up in that department, and I think that just does speak to like how they play the game. They play it very frantic. It's kind of all over the place. And it doesn't look good. It doesn't look like the siege that we see from any other team. It hasn't resulted in many victories for them. They've obviously won a couple of maps here and there. But really, like, eUnited fundamentally have some problems going on that I don't believe they've fixed in the last 2 days.
Veli, I want you to weigh in here. I just feel like eUnited, they've never gelled 100%. Just piggybacking off of what Jesse's saying here. What do you think this squad needs to do to unite, to get on the same page? I mean, there's talented players on this team.
I don't know. Even looking at what the pros say on Twitter, what we're seeing with our eyes, look at the VODs. The way of play style is just so weird at times, and you question, why are they pushing 2 people into a guy with the shotgun? Why are they having problems entry fragging when Ying isn't in play? Why are those gimmicks? Why do they depend on gimmicks and just big plays all around to win? Unlike other teams, it's such a big question mark because you look at this roster. Yeti's resume is beautiful. Yeti knows how to play the hell out of this game. Alfalma, he's been at the top in Europe. He's been on such a great team and he's done such a great job. So these players, they're not used to being at the bottom like this. So you take a look at roles, you take a look at the success in each role, call out, roaming is visual, stuff like that. A lot of things just need to be reworked. The coaches have to take them back to the drawing board as well. Like I said, this game is a show me game. Like, you have to prove to us that you're really not the worst. And if you lose this game, then it's just like the criticism is kind of granted. You have to be better, and I believe in eUnited.
And I think that, like, if you want to take a look at the victories that United have had, right? Let's go back to Clubhouse on Monday, right?
Oh, okay.
You can, just this one, right? If you want to put on your tinfoil hat, it did seem like for the first half and then a little bit into the second half, they were kind of playing really aggressive. They were peeking everything, and that did kind of throw the Sonics off guard. They did kind of bring it back in and play more standard Siege, less peek everything Siege, and started to win. So you could make an argument that eUnited purposefully play kind of crazy and then throw their opponent off guard and then switch things up and play well. I don't know if I believe that, but I think there's an argument there, and maybe they'll surprise us all.
Hopefully they'll surprise us all. We were talking about Merc earlier, and definitely was struggling this season, and then you see him pop off. That's Siege, right? Players have good games, they have bad games, they have good streaks, they have bad streaks. And we were touching on Alfalma a little bit. I feel like all three of us have talked about him quite a bit, and I was able to catch up with him after their loss on Monday and just kind of pick his brain about how he's feeling. And he actually got pretty emotional. You can tell how much this means to him. So we're going to roll that interview right now. Take a listen. Hey everybody, it's Jackie Jing, and I'm with Alfalma from eUnited. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy to have you. So I want to talk to you about the season so far. Obviously, it's been a little bit rocky for y'all. Talk to me about the high points and low points for your team this season.
One of the high points would be our win on Cafe against Disrupt. I think we really showcased what we were able to do. Another high peak would be coming back from that, being led 1-5 against Sonics on Clubhouse, and then showing that we have the mental fortitude that it takes to win, grind round by round. And we have the mental fortitude, we have the talent. I'd say the lows is just we keep losing our matches, even though we put a map, it's not enough. I've been on a losing team before, I've been on a winning team before. A lot of lows, definitely some highs, but it's finally time to find some consistency in what can work. I guess our back is against the wall for the major now. We have to play tempo in 2 days, and that if we don't win that, like that's it. Our major chance is gone. So there is a really small chance now, and if there's a time to wake up, it's now.
So talk to me about what is going through your head. I mean, I'm sure you're feeling a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, people have expectations on you. If you don't perform, they're gonna flame you on Twitter. It's all part of the banter, and like the most successful way of approaching this is just like literally ignoring this and focusing on yourself and your team. But a lot of things in my life really helped me, whether it be meditation, sports. A lot of things happen in my life personally. I lost people in my family this last month, and I can't go back to see them or see their grave because of coronavirus. Every time like I play, I'm like, I need to make this worth it, you know, because I'm like super far away. So it's always hard.
I'm sending you so much love right now. I'm so sorry to hear that. I mean, this matchup with Tempo Storm, it's huge. Maybe in some way you're directing all these emotions towards trying to get that victory, possibly.
Literally, I really try to separate my personal life from my professional life. I never wanted to impact it. So there's something in the back of my head that tells me I need to make it worth it, you know?
Your career, you've seen a lot of highs and lows like you talked about. Right now, are you focusing on getting this major spot, or are you just like, we cannot lose next week? Like, where is your mindset? Are eyes on the major, or eyes just kind of like on this next match?
I think that every match you need to take it one by one. Obviously, it's important to have a kind of a master plan for the future, but like I think that right now like the mindset is just win matches, win this match, then win the next one, then win the next one, and until we eventually get to the major.
People are talking about eUnited and they're just like, do they have what it takes? Do you think that you can be the best in the United States?
We have a saying in French, but I can't translate it because I don't know the words, but it's basically, we call it baptême du feu. It's basically you go through fire and either you survive, either you don't. And if there is anything that we need to prove ourselves first and then everyone else, it's that we can perform and get to the major spot. That's it. There's the fire. How are you gonna survive?
And is there anything that you want to say to the eUnited fans out there? A lot of people believe in y'all and have faith in y'all, so.
I think that our community is very precious. They're always supportive. We have our share of losses, and I think that they've always been behind us. I can't thank you enough for that. That means a lot, really. With like honesty.
Aw, okay, and thank you so much for doing this interview with us. eUnited's Alfalma, everyone.
Thank you. Have a nice evening too.
Aw, it's so fun to get to know these players and get an inside look at their life. And, you know, you saw him get emotional there. They're human. They're just like us. You know, they're dealing with issues. We heard him talking about his family tragedies. We heard Merc dealing with a massive move. You know, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. So we're very blessed to be able to get these little glimpses behind the scenes. So big thank you to Alfalma for giving us a look inside of his life. But gentlemen, you just can see how passionate they are about, you know, they want to win. And, you know, we've been teasing them. We've been poking fun at them a little bit. But pride is on the line here. They do not want to be last, and they still have their eyes on the goal. Veli, I'll start with you. What are you thinking for predictions here?
eUnited. You look at eUnited.
Okay.
I think punch for punch, Tempo Storm has more well-rounded players on their roster. But I feel like eUnited, they just have more power and experience. I heavily believe in Alfalma, not just because that interview, is because we know who Alfalma is, okay? We know who Yeti is. This team, Meepy, Bagel on the coaching staff, I expect them to come out swinging. eUnited has to prove right now that they're way better than last place. And I believe in them. All
right, big brain. Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, I like eUnited. I want to see them succeed. I truly do. But it's like, I saw them play 2 days ago, and that was not a team that I can choose to predict anytime soon. I'm going to say that Tempo Storm should take this one. In a quote from Ken's, he said that this is not the team that stresses them out. I think they expect to win. I expect them to win. I think they should be the heavy favorites in this matchup, 2-0.
Okay, Ken's.
2-0.
Shade there.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are divided. Let's see how this actually plays out. But really quickly for everyone at home, please follow us. We got a Twitter account. We got an Instagram account. Also, we have a community poll question. So please participate. And we got Blue and Stokes next. And I mean, I'm excited to see this now. Tempo Storm versus eUnited. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Here we go now.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back once again. It's just about time to start our second match of the evening here. Tempo Storm going to be going up against eUnited. I've got Stokes with me here on the cast. Stokes, how are we feeling about this matchup other than what we already talked about just a few minutes ago?
Personally, John, I'm feeling a little shaky about it. I don't know who's going to win this series, strictly because both of these teams have not looked the strongest this season. But something's got to give, something's got to break, I guess. And for me, I honestly am falling on the Tempo side of the fence. Only a little bit just because of eUnited's performance on Monday. So I think the map pool will tell us more of what's going to happen in this series. But as of right now, I'm feeling like it's a Tempo game.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that one pretty heavily. We can dive more into why that is in a little bit, but for the time being, it's time to take a look at today's community question. We want to know, out of these two teams, which one is going to end up giving us the better individual performance for the day? Will it be a player from Tempo Storm or eUnited? Go ahead over onto our social platforms, most notably Twitter, at R6esportsNA. Be sure to go ahead and submit your vote for today's poll. We'll have the results a little bit later on in the show and see which one did end up with the better individual performance.
Yeah, well, as we're going through all these things, I was looking through their map pool, because I know that's what we're going to be talking about next, obviously, as it's brought up at the bottom of the screen. I was looking through their map pool, and both teams not having the best and brightest when it comes down to it. Both of them only have a strong win ratio on one map, but even then it's only about 50% when it comes to maps that have multiple plays. For eUnited, it's Club, and for Tempo Storm, it's Theme Park. We're going to have Oregon first. How do you feel about that, John?
Oregon is a map that we've been seeing played like almost universally throughout the course of this league so far, so I would hope that both teams are going to feel pretty confident jumping onto that one. It is going to be the pick from eUnited, I believe, so with them going on to that one, the performance from them, if I remember correctly, they did play it against Sonics the other day. The performance from them, again, you know, a little bit hit or miss. Ultimately, as we take a look at that map, I think that it just comes down to the attack. That's going to be my point for a lot of things when we talk about eUnited today, unfortunately, is like, how are they going to improve things from attack? Because they actually had a pretty good defensive side, both on that map and on the other two that extended out from that in their series versus the Sonics. And they had some pretty good innovation coming from the defensive side, too. So I'm not really worried about that half. It's the attacking side where I'm really concerned because, like I said, only 2 rounds won out of a total of 3 maps played yesterday. That's not a great stat line. It's something that I'm going to be very worried about as I get into this map. Got the rest of those maps coming up, though. Clubhouse is going to be the second map of the series chosen by Tempo, and our final map that we'll end up on is going to be Theme Park.
Not a bad map pool at all. eUnited picking up Oregon and Tempo picking up Club. The Club pick's a little weird for Tempo Storm just because they don't have much Club played. They only have one Club play in the last 3 months, and they lost that. So, kind of harsh for them, but more than likely put some work in over the last week, especially with the recent VOD that they have on eUnited. So definitely not a bad map pick at all.
I would have to say it's probably coming from the Monday VOD and looking at their performance versus the Sonics. Even though eUnited won, there is still that glaring issue on the attacking side, and they're probably thinking that they can abuse that and try to sneak a win out of that one and maybe just expand their map a little bit in the process. Tempo is, like I said, definitely a team that's been slowly trending up, although they might have plateaued a little bit in that journey over the past week or so, as their most recent matchups here for Stage 2 have not necessarily looked as impressive as they did back in the first phase of the league here that we played out a couple weeks back.
Yeah, the other hard thing for these two teams coming into this series, as we're actually just getting the map started here, is that both of these teams only have one positive player each. That being Grixer and Creators are the only ones with a positive rating and or positive KD right now for both of these squads. Actually, but Tempo Storm does have one more player that is sitting even right now, if you want to include that inside of the positive, but he is even in between those. So we'll see how that ends up working out for them. But for both of these squads, I think most of us have said it best on the analyst desk as well as in between you and I. It's the offensive sides for both of these teams that really need to be fixed.
And so far, as we take a look at the bans, things are going pretty much according to plan, although we won't end up seeing the Maverick get banned out. Instead, it's going to be the Hibana as the chosen attacker, and most notably Hard Breacher to eliminate here. There's been a lot of Hibana usage to knock out small panels on that attic push, of course, take care of the hatches on basement. So sending it over to a job to force Maverick to do it is a pretty interesting choice in terms of how you want to handle the bans. It certainly slows things down and makes the whole process a little bit more delicate, as you have to be careful of things like nitro cells and impact grenades getting thrown at Maverick if the defenders had the capability to play up close to him, which very often they do. Our two defender bans are going to come out. They're going to be pretty straightforward. Maestro and Echo, we see those banned out pretty often. They're pretty annoying to deal with, and that's a big part of the reason why we see them banned quite a bit. So
Very, very true, especially with how annoying Echo is. You're going to want him off the field. So having both of those gone, though, is going to open the gate to some other things. Strictly the Wamai Jaeger combo, which is already going to be coming out. It's the most recent addition to the 22nd meta, as well as Mira is going to be available. So we'll probably see some play with her as well.
I thought when you said 22nd meta, I thought you were like a number, like 22nd meta. Like, and I was like, wait, I didn't know we had numbers.
This is our 22nd meta.
I was like, I didn't know we were tracking them like a Congress session or something like that.
This is actually meta number. This would probably be like we'd probably be in like meta 100 by now. This is year 5.
Someone needs to do that now.
Oh man, we're gonna need the internet.
Just mark the meta
yeah,
eras.
We're gonna need the internet historian on this one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting into the first round. It is going to be an upstairs defense from Tempo Storm, since they'll start out on defense, of course. And we will see them. So far, things looking pretty straightforward. You're just seeing the usual reinforcements on the master connector, the one against the walk-in wall, and then, of course, the attic walls getting punched up as well there, along with Dream reinforcing the two downstairs in meeting room, just to make that process for eUnited a little bit more difficult, of clearing out both this immediate area where Dream is holding, along with the upstairs area in T2, where they have to take out the wall and start pushing through attic to the actual site.
A lot of dedicated utility into the attic from Tempo Storm, also dedicating those two reinforcements into meeting on the stage area with that mute jammer. So more than likely will attempt to prevent anyone from rotating into meeting, but they have all of their players on site right now. And the reason that they want to prevent that meeting area is so that they can keep the attic wall locked longer. But with that reinforcement as well as a mute down there by itself, I don't see it standing too long to eUnited. They can just draw out the space, see that no one's there, and move along their merry way. Or they could possibly just torch the wall open. There's many different ways that they could possibly go about this, and it seems to be the latter.
Maverick already going to work, of course. At the moment, just creating some bullet holes inside of the paneling leading into attic. He's actually going to fully look for an opening on the other side where they do have the support, that white box, to allow for them to push through. He won't fully take out the wall, as we often see Maverick do in these sorts of situations. Instead, he's just going to make a little crawl hole. It's probably a little quicker to do that. A little bit less precision is required. And as well, it's a bit sneakier if they can get 1 or 2 players in there without crazy noticing. Although I doubt that's going to happen. We can already see the ADS eating up some of the initial grenades. Well, my discs are going to do exactly that, but eventually some of the utility will burst its way through and take out at least the first Goyo shield. Second one is going to be taken out by Alfalma just there. And the drones will start to sneak in now and start getting some better intel as to what Crazy and Mark and the rest of Tempo in the site are up
That's
to.
some fantastic utility use between Alfalma as well as Yeti. Very, very good job about getting rid of those Goyo shields. Not getting too aggressive so that Tempo can capitalize off of anything there as well. So now the top part of Attic, at least, is free reign for eUnited if they want to take control. But now they've already shifted their sights over towards Master. And this has been the way that a lot of people have been handling this site on Oregon. You want to get that Attic wall and then rotate down to Master, and then eventually attempt to plant games once you get those picks or have cleared out most of the utility for those crossfires. But now we're entering that minute category where things tend to get hellish. We see some legs on the ground, but actually Forrest wins it out. Dream not expecting someone to be prone in the corner of the closet, and that's where Forrest strikes best in those very unique situations. Quick jump from him as he's going to get Toxic Babed off, has a utility burn through the main door of Trophy here. But for now, Tempo Storm still have a leg to stand on with only 40 remaining.
As you said, just a few seconds remaining on the clock here, so eUnited's hands soon more than likely going to be forced. They've made some good progress, though, even beyond the initial entry of just getting walls open and opening up the avenues of attack. The Ying Candelas are prepped and ready to go from Grixer. He's going to toss the first one in and quickly wrap back around to the breach to try and outwit Creators, but no, he'll get the better of it. And on top of that, Crazy's also going to be able to take out a player from the Attic Force. We'll be able to find the first trade, but he's also going to go down a second later. Callout did get one more to add to the team's counter here, but now it's down to just him and Alfalma, and Alfalma also gets cut off from the side to bring him down to about 25. He finished off. Callout does catch a trade, brings us down to a 1v1. Initially, Callout has the free angle on Mark, but no longer. Mark will finish things off with the shoddy, and Tempo will take control of round number 1.
Very harsh spot to be for Callout when it comes down to that low time crunch. On Repel has to swing in, actually ends up getting the kill. I didn't see that one actually happening, but ends up prolonging the round, but ends up getting taken out by the shotgun. Not a bad round at all by Tempo Storm. It was more eUnited just not being able to get through all of that utility in the main area of the site while trying to get ready to plant and set games. They had some good rotations there as well for their offensive setup, specifically Callout rotating to dorms to try and cut off any of the rotates over towards Attic. Just didn't work out for them. But they won't have another try at that site just yet. They're going to be attacking Laundry.
Yeah, Grixer was a huge piece of that, trying to be a success when he threw in the Candela through the main doorway at Trophy that you had talked about before they were stacking up at, but instead chose not to actually execute through that route, wrapped around, let his teammates execute through that avenue, and then he tried to go in through the breach that had been made at Master. That's where things started to get shut down. That's where the trades started happening, and unfortunately for eUnited, Tempo had the man advantage in that situation already, if memory serves me. Well, actually, no, they didn't. They were a man down when that all started, but either way, they were able to get the man advantage back under their control, on top of the fact that they had barely been pushed on site, and then through those two avenues, they were able to maintain control of the main site area throughout the execute and shut down the push from eUnited.
I like the pickup of the Ying again for eUnited, but I don't like how they're synergizing with it currently, mainly because Grixer doesn't capitalize off of his Candelas very often. We don't see him usually follow the balls in or see him immediately hop in once they initially go off, and that's how Ying, synergizes with her kit so well because of her glasses that allow you to see through those stuns. So I'd like to see him get more aggressive off of those utility uses when they are going off, instead of a little bit later or leading his team in with them, because then they're basically like a usual Flash, but obviously they have a much better chance of stunning people.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, well, we've got eUnited out on the board again. They've already moved in to take some quick control here towards the meeting room, and you can see Callout already well on his way to trying to open up the meeting hatch leading down into electrical. He doesn't be careful about this. We talked before about how oftentimes the defenders will actively play against the Maverick Breach and try to take it out with either a lucky headshot find or other utilities such as C4 or impact grenades if they can find the lineups for that. Nothing being presented to any of the members of Tempo right now, but you can hear a few players nearby. Mark, I think one of the closest, but he will not be actively contesting that hatch breach, so it should go off without a hitch for Callout and open up the eventual attack avenue. Much more important part of the map being played for over here by Mark, too, as he's extended out into the bunker, trying to stop the tunnel push from eUnited.
Yeah, strangely enough, within this week, actually, Tempo Storm has taken a few spots on the top 5 for stats, and It's Mark and Sloppy. Sloppy now has 4 clutches, and Mark is actually up on the entry board. He's in 3rd right now, tied with Rampy for +7.
That doesn't surprise me too much when you consider their most recent match. There was quite a few rounds where Mark stepped in and opened up avenues for the team. I think it was on entry as well, where otherwise the team would have just kind of flat-footed themselves and otherwise destroyed by a defending setup. So Mark's owed a lot with regards to that and his performance on it in the most recent matches.
Yeah, very good stuff from him, but eUnited now barreling down onto site. Still a lot of work to do. They have Pillars control as well as E-Box. They just have to work their way into the B bomb site and attempt this plant, but still plenty of utility on the Tempo side. Start looking out for those smoke grenades from Dream, who's playing in Freezer to possibly prevent. Seems like Callout does want to torch open the single panel into the bomb site. Has a hole at the bottom right now to prevent anyone from bandit tricking or doing anything of the sort. That might kill him. That's very close, but no, he gets away with his life. I was terrified there for just a second for Forrest. Didn't want to see him down by his own exothermic charge. They now have the single panel open, though, and this plant can commence.
It's the second time Forrest has done that where he's blown it up incredibly close to himself. He did it in the last round too. But either way, United looking for that first strike. Mark in the meanwhile swinging around, trying to also find the pick onto Alfalma, but is not going to be able to do it. Attackers will maintain control, and even worse for Tempo, they're now getting closer to the plant. Sloppy's going to be able to interrupt that at a very minimum, but Grixer should be in here trying to reattempt it in the corner in just a second. There it is. Craters with another find here keeps the fight alive for his team and is going to try and force the issue. Sloppy gets one, Craters adds another up on the tick here, and now everything all of a sudden falls onto Grixer. Grixer has the lineup against both of the remaining members of Tempo, but even that won't be enough. They'll pull off the 2v2 retake, bring it back under their control, and secure round number 2 for Tempo Storm.
Sorry about that little giddish scream right there, but I did not expect him to just openly swing that into 2 people. Very, very impressive round from Sloppy, especially with that stunned frag that he got peeking into Trench there. Overall, again, great round from Tempo Storm. Very good stuff to shut everything down after the smokes went down. They knew that they had to play for the post plant there. They weren't going to be able to just trudge through the smoke, kill the man planting, and take out everyone that was the Overwatch protecting the planter. So much rather deal with that later on. So I'd say that they did the best with what they had, and it just turned out positive. For eUnited, though, you got to play those a little bit slower, especially on Grixer's end. Like, I know we just talked about him last round, but you can't play your post plants like that. That a very, very aggressive swing when no one's trying to defuse. That's not how you win those situations. And I'd like to see him play it out just a little bit longer because I know Grixer has the ability to do so. So I'd much rather just see him go about it in a different fashion.
A 6 pick from Tempo Storm into the Warden there. More than likely to counter out the Ying, but this is the first time we're going to see United not bring the Ying. So the actual usefulness of that Warden will be a little bit more up in the air. We'll have to check back later on in the round and see if he'll actually be able to contribute with those smart glasses at all. Other than that, they have opted for the much more open of the 2 kitchen sites here by going for Meeting Hall instead of the Dining Hall that we sometimes see a few teams choose into. It's still a very low-picked site overall. This is definitely the preferred one out of the 2, and will remain that way for Tempo.
Well, on Tempo's side, we are going to still have that Jaeger Wamai combo that we've gotten so used to, but we're also going to have Mutant Vigil, part of the old info lineup we used to run for the 20-second meta, but definitely still as potent, especially when it comes to Mutant Vigil. Vigil, especially with that backpack, can be kind of a rat when it comes down to it. Kind of difficult to deal with in the proper hands, and I'll have to see if those hands happen to be crazies. I do like the 6 pick away from the Ying, though, for eUnited, just because it doesn't seem to be working out so well for them. They were able to get that diffuser down, but Grixer, very unfortunate when he was tossing that smoke that someone peeked out onto Callout that was putting the diffuser down in front of him. So put Grixer over to the Zofia, give him those concussions and impacts, a little bit more bang for his buck when it comes to split in utility, having impacts as well as concussions instead of just flashes and smokes. So possibly could help him out with some angle control or gunfights.
So as you might expect, emphasis early on from eUnited on the upstairs clear. They've got a player hanging out around the big window, and in a second, Alfalma is going to start crunching this from Trophy as he swings into games. Has been able to find out the Jaeger, but no, Creator's on it. Will get the better of him in a very big way. Still ends up with about 66% of his health pool at the end of it as well by taking out Alfalma. Down goes the Ash. We did have, I believe, Grixer nearby outside big window trying to look for a trade. I don't know if he's been able to push it. He's currently self-droning, or no, trying to assist the drone for Forrest, and one other player that's sitting outside of big window Callout, also in the neighborhood, trying to clear out Crazy and Creators. who we saw dealing that damage just a couple seconds ago.
This is extremely terrifying, simply because Callout and Forest are both the hard breachers, and they seem to be on the front line of combat right now. Should be Grixer attempting to jump into that double. I feel like I keep mentioning Grixer. I'm so very sorry, but I don't think they even want to attempt to clear this upstairs, which I can't blame them. They don't have exactly the most intel in the world right now, and plenty of their intel's actually been destroyed. Mind you, those white dots on their drones do mean that they are active, so they could possibly be mute jammed as well. So we don't know exactly how well eUnited are doing on their info game, but what we do know is that it appears they're going for kitchen quite quickly. The single panel to the western side getting destroyed now, if possible. There it goes. Finally going to get rid of it, but no, it's going to be an impact from upstairs by the, actually by the Vigil, excuse me. It's Vigil upstairs throwing those impacts through the door, and that should be the second one right there and gone. So no more hard destruction in Forest Pocket.
And that's one of the issues that'll arise as eUnited chose not to clear out those two upstairs defenders. This is on top of the fact that they can drop down through those hatches and the pre-placed holes in the floor that they made for themselves and deal quite a bit of damage. But that goes both ways here, as we're going to see Sloppy try and down one of the members of eUnited upstairs, but it's not working. Mark gets an entry onto Yeti, but Forrest and Callout quickly trade those two right back into their own favor. It's now a 3 versus 3, though. Tempo still controlling the situation, and eUnited being forced to make a play into the site. Immediately, we're going to see the Tempo members begin to shut things down. One trade from Callout, and he'll be able to finalize it against Dream, but time is going to run out just a second after that, and Tempo will claim the third round on their timer.
Harsh round there for eUnited, and honestly, all they had to do was clear that top floor. I know it's a very simplistic thing to point out, but they needed to commit to the clear upstairs, whether it be from taking attic or from taking the games wall or what have you. I don't exactly know, but I would have liked to see a full clear upstairs, and I definitely think that they could have went about it in a similar fashion as to how they attacked the upstairs, and that clearly would have helped them out. The hard destruction downstairs to actually get into the actual bomb site to plant in kitchen, not working out just because of the fact that Vigil was allowed to stay upstairs with full utility usage in his pocket. So right now, not looking the best on the offensive side, and they're going to shift things up again. Alfalma going away from the entry frag capability of Ash and picking up the Monty shield.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into round number 4. The second go-around of the sites now begins for Tempo. Since they've started to unlock sites they've already won, we're back on to kids for the first time. See if they can pull off the second successful defense here. Operator lineup has changed a little bit from eUnited. This is where we saw them bringing the Ying into the picture previously on Grixer, but obviously we don't have that happening again since he's on the Zofia this time. And we've got Alfalma now switching over to the Montaigne as well, definitely slowing down the overall strategy from eUnited, but hopefully adding a bit more robustness to it as well by bringing the Montaigne and hopefully an unstoppable player that can give them at least a little bit of free real estate, probably in an area like attic, if they want to try pushing.
I completely agree with you, and that's exactly what Monty does. He's practically free pressure. There's a video from a long time ago of Pengu talking about that operator and how inherently he's kind of broken because you just get to walk at people, and half the time they really can't prevent you from doing so, unless obviously they have an explosive or a goo mine or something along those lines. But most of the time, Monty just gets to have free information and just stand there and stare at you menacingly until you turn away and shoot you in the side of the head. That's how Monty works. He's a very fun guy, but not the most fun when you're playing defense. Also, looking back through the stats that we gathered before this matchup and looking at Oregon overall, I want to bring attention back to that offensive stat that we had for both teams. eUnited has a 26.2% chance to win their offensive rounds, and Oregon has a 69% defensive win rate. That's, well, first of all, nice. And secondly, that kind of sucks for them.
Certainly is the case. But we've got that free pressure starting to work its way in. It's not going to come directly from Attic. Alfalma's actually going to walk right up through Trophy and be able to take free control there, which is going to put players like Dream on the back foot, because now there's a lot of free intel about where exactly the positions are lined up in areas like games, and that also opens up some possibility for window play on eUnited, which Tempo will have to respect, at least to a certain extent here. Other members of eUnited are working diligently to get Attic open. As you can see, both Callout and Tugboat in position to open that. In a moment here, Forrest is going to pop one of the exothermics, or at least try to, but it looks like Dream might have shot it either just off of the random chance that because he was trying to shoot Alfalma, or on purpose to take out that exo, and it will get canceled by Forrest there.
I think one of the pellets snuck through on the left-hand side of Alfalma's shield and hit it. That's very unfortunate. I believe that he still has one smoke, so Alfalma can try again for this. They're getting a lot of utility used inside of Attic as well. With this double hard breach, I'm actually surprised that they didn't go for this right here. Or immediately Mav the Attic open while you're pressuring that, blow the game's wall, and have all hell break loose inside of the site. But gonna start working on that right now. Nitro Cell outside doesn't actually do any damage to call out at all, but Grixer's going to die. I don't even know exactly where Sloppy jumped out from, but it seems that he jumped out the bottom white window. So very nice frag for him. Opening things up finally. Grixer's going to be our first death here inside of round 4 with only 37 seconds remaining. They do still have the Monty shield inside of Trophy, but Alfalma doesn't have anyone in tow with him, which could lead to a lot of problems. Monty with no one behind him is a lot less scary because there's probably no one that's going to shoot you if you're staring at him.
In the meantime, though, we still have the pressure coming for the outside window. We've got quite a few members of Tempo scared to peek, and that's what will allow Forest to swing. The setup for trades is too strong, but just as I say that, a double from Yeti pops up on the kill feed and reopens that possibility. It's brought down to a 2v2. There's another find from Tempo, and now everything falls down to the Montaigne, which will also get knocked out by Sloppy at the last second, giving it over to Tempo once again. 4-0 lead, still getting the claps at the end of each round there. And Tempo so far undefeated on their defensive half.
I feel so bad right now, John, because every single time we finish one of these rounds, I basically just have to say, eUnited fumbled the bag. That's what they did. They just fumbled the bag. It didn't work out. They're trying to adjust, and it's not working.
Props to them for the adjustment, at least. Like it definitely seemed like it had the capability to work. It just didn't. Yeah. Just really didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking about that last week when we were casting Oregon. I was like, you should have a Monty walk at that door, hold it, and then just put an exothermic charge down or something, and then blow the back end of the Attic, because that'd scare everybody when that's open. You really can't hold Attic anymore because of that. But that shotgun.
And that round probably does go a little differently if they open that up, because they're more than likely getting that kill into the Attic player. Their Attic push can go a little quicker. They've got a lot more time to play with at that point. It was very unfortunate what happened with Forest, whoever was on the thermite at the time, due to having that exothermic charge. I'm pretty sure get accidentally shot because Alfalma was like slightly too far to the left on the doorway.
Yeah, and the other unfortunate thing is it was smoked off. It's not even like he knew it was there. He just shot and randomly got 10 points or whatever, and was like, oh hey, cool, that's awesome.
And the funniest part, he doesn't even know they got 10 points because the points are off.
Exactly. He doesn't even know that he won them the round by that. He doesn't even know.
Yeah, he doesn't even know that he might have inadvertently won them the round with a random shotgun shot.
That is the other difficult thing, though, now that I think about it, is that since Hibana's banned, there's no real way to open that and get the master wall if one of them gets destroyed, because you don't have any more exothermic charges. You'd have to have call out rotate and have Mav open it while Monty stands there viciously.
It does start to explain why eUnited have been taking so much time to get to the point where they're ready to start their attacks, just due to the difficulty of lining up an attack angle to begin with. Now, that should be noted that Tempo is more than likely going to run into the same exact issue, and they'll be switching over to that attacking side in just one round after this one. So keep that in mind for when they jump onto the attack in just a few rounds here.
That's going to be the real tale between these two, is what happens when Tempo gets on offense. If Tempo's dominant on offense, this cannot possibly be a good series for eUnited. And the only reason I'm saying that is because I've been seeing more adjustment, and I like that. I definitely do. But I haven't been seeing any improvement when it comes to their actual play from what we saw Monday. Things need to swap up fast, and I believe in Alfalma in this squad. I believe that they have it in the tank to make these adjustments, and maybe it does just take this bad start here to finally kickstart the engine that is eUnited.
Well, eUnited is certainly going to be putting pressure onto those back tower steps. A lot of their drones working their way down this avenue too, but in terms of a player stack, we don't necessarily have everyone here committing to this. It looks like it might be a bit of a different shape this time from eUnited, although we'll give better ideas to what that's going to look like in a few moments here. A lot more players stacked up on top of the hatch instead this time, along with Yeti at least rationalizing a drone down through those freezer stairs, because that he might think about trying to take that push over the next few moments if he thinks he can do it by himself. The drone going down there, of course, is supposed to figure that out for him, along with callouts here. They'll be able to deal with the first Goyo shield sitting down main hall. One more still sits in front of Mark currently, so they'll have to try and find a way to deal with that if they want to use the angle. But actually, no, Mark's just going to blow it up on his own and reinforce the wall.
I love this Goyo from this Tempo squad. The Goyo is really slowing things down for eUnited, and it seems that they don't know how to handle it when it gets down to that load timer right now. It's a very scary thing when you don't have the diffuser down yet. There's only 10 seconds left on the clock. You still have to execute. It can definitely get inside of your head, even when it comes down to, competitive players and things along those lines. So eUnited, though, working their way into sight, still have the smoke up, but we have a rotate here from eUnited. This is Callout that's worked his way into Freezer. He always finds these ways to find somewhere to end up with a flank. We already have the first kill come through. That's Yeti onto Crazy. That's a Valkyrie off the board, but it seems that they all of a sudden know that Callout's inside a Freezer. He's crossed, and he's actually, no, Dreamwind's out the fight. Yeti to tag along as well, but finally Sloppy brings things back to a center point. He had a triple kill the last time on this site. He's already up to the double, but he can't close it out. And Callout, with a really good game sense to rotate to Freezer, actually picks up the round for eUnited.
Much better entry opening that time from eUnited overall. They had a great setup to do that. Yeti, I wish we saw his opening kill, because that was by far the most important one that opened up further play for him to be able to try and line up those later shots. You know, even if he didn't manage, I don't know if he got more than the one kill. I'm pretty sure he did, but whatever he ended up with over the course of that round, the first one is the one that opens everything else up for him, because it also allows that Freezer push to start working its way down. Now you have the players in Freezer having to pay more attention to Laundry. Once that avenue's opened up, we had a soft wall, and then you got a crossfire. And at that point forward, once EU had that crossfire established, they just start knocking out members of Tempo one by one, finally taking down the domino stack and putting a round up on the board for themselves.
Yeah, they say a lot in MMA, but the jab leads to everything else. It's the same with Siege. The opening kill allows you to do so much more just because you've already closed out a section of the map that's safe for the defense to play. So when you get that opening kill, all of a sudden you have Freezer control, you have more room to work with, you're safe there, you can possibly get a reload in. There's so many other things that you're capable of when you have that opening kill as opposed to not. That it opens up the entire playbook for eUnited, and finally they get the engine rolling here. The real thing for me, though, is that if Callout's going to continue to be the entry fragger, I want to see him get off of this map and hand it over to somebody else. Give this man the Ashe, give this man the Zofia. I mean, if you guys want to, you know, play that more go with the win style, then shift up the operator usages to different people. I mean, Callout's lighting up the scoreboard right now, and I think this is the time to really praise him, because a lot of people give him crap when it comes down to gun skill and these other things. There's a lot of people that talk about that, but at the end of the day, it's not all about gun skill. It's most of the time about game sense and your positioning, and in that moment, Callout was better than anybody else in the lobby.
Well, a good opportunity for eUnited to get their foot onto the ground and start building up a bit of a scoreline after a successful attack in the basement. They potentially have the capability to repeat those same exact steps they just took for a win and get themselves a second one up on the board before the half closes out. We've already got a few of them in the building, of course. Callout's going to go to work on that meeting room hatch, and Tempo this time will sit in the way of it. We do have Crazy on the Cade, though he currently does not have one of those electro claws sitting on the hatch. I don't think he'll throw one up there just because it's very easy for the Maverick to dance around it and overall avoid the electro claw and get the hatch open regardless of it being there. So instead he's going to throw his one on the wall leading from, I believe it was electrical, out to the pillar room. Yeah, right over there. Or it's actually from B site to the pillar room, excuse me. And then another one on the freezer hatch, although that's, like I said, being open regardless of the presence of the electric claw. Currently Dream's trying to delay it with those gas grenades.
This seems to be much faster here from eUnited. Callout already has both hatches open. He's working through his last torch fuel canister right now, and yep, there we go. Already popped both the hatches in under a minute and 30 seconds, so doesn't have to worry about any more hard destruction. He's just another man with another gun and 2 frag grenades, so we'll see if he's as successful as he was in the previous round. But for the rest of this squad, they already have Yeti's utility used for the most part. Air jabs have been expended, so no rotations for Tempo Storm. They're going to have to deal with eUnited head on.
They've, of course, brought the Montaigne back into the fold, and he's going to start his push in through the tunnels. Start making some progress and hopefully getting some control for eUnited that they can work off of to open up that entry capability. Once again, we do have the shield sitting in place. The Goyo shield's trying to stop this push, and more importantly, dealing quite a good amount of damage at the end of the day to this Montaigne as he pushes through. He's able to get out of it relatively quickly, though, so Alfalma will only lose about 10 to 15 HP from the exchange and just move into Pillar Room to regroup with the rest of his team, which is now trying to push down that hallway where you've got other players like Mark, along with Creators, trying to hold things back.
Yeah, these shields have made things very complicated for eUnited, and Tempo Storm continuously brings them. So, as they're trying to get rid of all these Goyos and find a place to plant, we are going to make Swiss cheese of the single panel for the site. Forrest seems to want to exothermic that open now. As Call, it's going to rotate, but he doesn't have too much fuel left, so that should be the last of it. Just that line that he's created in the double panel that we saw reinforced earlier for construction. Now it's time for the plant, though. Only 15 seconds remain as Callout rotates back to hold the cross. Yeti's going to pick up the player inside of Freezer as well. That means Alfalma can safely plant. Forrest works his way in. Tempo Storm falling apart at the seams, but finally pick up one, but not before the plant goes down. Into the post plant, eUnited all over every single entry point as it's already down to the 2 versus 4. But right as I say it, Crazy in a clutch moment, the 1 versus 4 with the Monty up. It's going to be very difficult. Oh, but he's already got 2 shots that are confirmed on a Grixer and Forrest. What a kill. Has the Nitro as well. Can he kill him? Oh no, not in time. And that's more than likely all she wrote. Only possibilities to possibly bait the Monty, and he also still has to kill Callout. Pre-fires does quite a bit of damage, but has also quite a bit of damage dealt back to Crazy. 44 meg in hand now, flips back around, Callout challenges, rips his head off, and eUnited reached the split 4-2.
So unfortunate for Crazy, came so close to the clutch in that situation, only to be thwarted by the Montaigne. Just such a hard operator to try and isolate and deal with it, any type of 1vx situation, let alone the one that we just saw before us. Props to United once again, though, creating a great crossfire situation for themselves without even really putting too much risk onto any of their own players either. The good use of the Maverick to make Swiss cheese of the walls and open up a lot of off-site play potential while their Montaigne went in for the plant actually made it a pretty safe post-plant scenario before the plant had even gone down onto the ground. Really smart stuff from eUnited, a huge increase to their overall attacking performance from what we saw the other day. And although they only get 2 rounds, they're 2 very convincing rounds at the end of the half, and now they go on to defense, where overall as a team, they've looked a lot stronger so far this week.
And I know Valley's going to be happy because both of the rounds that eUnited got on offense, they didn't have Ying. You don't even need her. Isn't that strange? Don't even need her to get one of those rounds. eUnited now on defense, though. And we were talking about those stats earlier on their offensive sides and how poor they were. But if you want to hear about something crazy, eUnited and Tempo Storm both have over a 50% chance to win their defensive rounds. eUnited currently sits at a 55.3% chance on their defensive ends. So quite strange when you compare them to their offense.
We'll have to see if eUnited is going to be able to carry forward on the defensive half, where things have definitely looked a lot better for them to try and carry forward and claim a victory on the first map here on Oregon. Tempo, of course, still with those 4 rounds up on the board. He's in a good position. I'm sure they're not panicking too much as of yet, as long as they're able to rebound quickly here and start things off well. They are also still on a pretty quick path trying to close out this map for themselves. It's still what could be a potential 7-2 scoreline, but now they must do it from the attacking side, where things in general tend to get a bit more difficult.
Yeah, especially here. Once again, this map has a 69% defensive win rate, which is bonkers. We don't see that happen ever, and with that stat being in play, eUnited actually did better than average. So for them, I would say that is a win in their book. Again, with how poor the offensive unit for eUnited has been. But now Tempo's on the field, and they have to try and reenact what eUnited just created. See how successful they are. Already about a minute in, haven't gotten too much work done on the hatches, but that's more than likely due to the drones rolling through to see if there's any roam game. But for eUnited, there's no one home.
Dream's going to quickly start to open up the freezer hatch here. Forrest is on the other side of it. With an Electric Claw already in place, he's trying to get a little bit aggressive here, too, due to the way that the hatch is being opened currently. There is a pretty good chance that Forrest will have a headshot angle, if only for a split second. He's looking for it. He saw the beret for like a split second, but I don't think he ever really had a great chance to line up the headshot angle, so not going to happen there. We are going to see the pocket mirror shield come out here for Callout as well, as he's going to reinforce the supply closet and give them that classic angle onto the inside of Laundry.
Oh, we're about halfway through now. Decent amount of work done for Tempo Storm, but still a lot of the map to cover. They're mainly focused on the lobby area / security right now, and this seems that Tempo wants to go for a freezer laundry push. We haven't seen too many of these be so successful unless they've been able to get a pick early on. Tempo Storm rolling the drones through sight, getting a decent amount of intel actually. They know where Forrest is playing, as well as Callout with that shield inside of the hallway. They've worked their way down into freezer, but there's a Mira here as well, but that's more than likely being played all the way back inside of the actual laundry room. Nice shots from Forrest in a, again, unique way to take those gunfights. He's going to get his second kill of the game, prone on the floor.
Raider's still looking for a lineup to try and take out more members of eUnited here, but the cross is not giving them anything. eUnited have a great hold in the back, although Tempo finds a great lineup of his own on the Incendiary. He's going to be able to send that out. The dart will fully take out one of the members of eUnited. Now another one also going to be found, this time by Mark, as he's able to isolate out Callout and eliminate him. They continue to fall one by one as Tempo finally gets the confidence to push, but just as it's there, Alfalma shows up with his own double. Yeti will fall on his attempt to push back out, and at the same time, the actual defuse plant has been canceled. Alfalma's now alone in the 1v2 situation, trying to deny the plant and bring this timer down even lower, but it's not going to happen. Craters gets the better of him from the closet, and Tempo win the opening round of the half.
Such a good round there for Tempo Storm. Actually acting very quickly after they got security, did not show any face at the back of the map at all. eUnited actually centralized their most of their players around the front as well to try and counteract what Tempo was going to do with that freezer control, but they just could not win the gunfights. And again, sometimes it simply comes down to that. eUnited outclassed when it came down to those gunfights, and now Tempo Storm picking up the Monty to make things that much more difficult.
Or are they going to pick up the Monty?
That's a good question.
It's looking like it's going to get 6 picked out. So, hey, same for the Clash, though. So, Shield haters unite. You're getting your wish this round, as both of them are going to get 6 picked out. And both the teams kind of read into each other's 6-pick strats there pretty well.
Are you sure they're not looking at the stream?
I hope not, because that would be like 2 minutes out of date.
Don't tell them. Part of the script.
Oh, come on. Everyone knows that.
There's that one guy. I didn't know that. What?
It's like, this isn't live.
Every single time that anyone tweets and asks how the teams aren't going to cheat off of the stream, I just laugh. It's just so funny. It's so funny. It's like, man, this is 2020. Do you think we can't just delay that? Come on, man. Come on, bro.
Yeah. Sorry, folks. Everything you're seeing happened 2 minutes
ago.
ago.
We're living in the future. The future's now, old man.
It's like that delay when you look at the sun. You're actually looking at the sun 7 minutes
Isn't
ago.
it 8?
I thought it was
You're
7.
probably
I might
right,
be
because
wrong.
that seems like something I'd get wrong.
That's usually a random factoid that I get right. So I think that one's mine.
Facts. We're gonna have to start opening like every like when they rotate. We're gonna have to get a fun fact every time, John.
I've got a lot of those.
All right.
They're not really relevant though. So
We're gonna test you later. We'll see. We'll keep you on your toes.
I need a list. I need to list them now, so I have them ready.
All right. Well, jumping into round 8 now, eUnited has chosen to go upstairs to the dorms. One of the best sites when it comes to this map specifically. When it comes to dorms, it actually also shares the same win rate. It's actually second on the list for the sites on Oregon, having a 69% win rate once again. So eUnited, pretty good spot here when it comes to defense. They're going to have a different way about going about holding this down as to how Tempo did. Tempo really liked that Goyo pickup, but instead, we're going to have more of a spread utility here by the defense. What a shot from Creators to take out Yeti inside of Attic, though. Hell of a shot all the way with a nice little pixel angle there from the staircase.
Speaking of pixel angles, Forest currently trying to hold a close one by the shield, sitting at the edge of Attic here. Craters, of course, looking to be on the other end of that one and might actually just try to arch one of these shots right onto the shield. Gonna be a little careful about the angle, of course, just due to the fact that Craters does not want to over-peek and give his own head away to the opponent on the other side. But the shield will successfully get taken out, and that will also send the player holding Attic a little bit further back towards the site. The defenders now, it's going to be Forest moving a little bit further away and into a safer position for at least the time being.
Well, across the map, we saw Callout spending some time outside, so no lack of aggression in the roam category. Tempo Storm still attempting to work through a lot of this. They're getting aggressive towards Master as well, which I don't even think that they were ready for. He's prone. Callout takes him out. That's going to be the Thermite. Still have one on Repel. That's actually going to be, I believe, Creators. Yes, all by his lonesome. Sees the man on the ground. Nice pre-fire, but immediately refragged from Alfalma. Played beautifully off of that touch from Trophy. All left up to Crazy, but he's peaked from dorms by Forest playing the close angle. And eUnited wins their first defensive round.
Some more good stuff from eUnited, a bit of weighted aggression, especially towards Master there. The two-player push immediately shuts down the second wing of the overall tempo strategy for that round, and without it, unfortunately, the Attic players are just not able to find the frags they need to enter the site. We're going to go back to basement for the next one here, as now with some success upstairs, eUnited are feeling confident to finally lock down this basement site with a victory of their own here.
Well, strange enough, looking at laundry, we don't really see those laundry freezer takes that often. eUnited could possibly have not even been prepped for that, depending on depending on information. But this time they're going to be bringing the Clash, which is going to slow down this offensive take quite a bit. So if they do end up going for that same take, I don't see it being quite as successful unless they're able to get rid of Alfalma.
Alfalma will be a very, very pivotal player to this take. Now note, we don't have what we were seeing from Tempo, which is the Goyo shields, and that oftentimes cause their form of delay. So more than likely, Clash is going to have to take that same form, putting herself in harm's way in very crucial areas of the map, like that bunker rotate and the sidewall that leads directly into the B site, along with the main hallway and the pillar push that we're going to see a lot of attacking teams take the route of nowadays. Freezer, also an option for play for the Clash. Really just kind of depends on what Tempo is going to bring to the table. They did try to use a little bit of laundry and freezer pressure combined, if memory serves me correctly, to win their attack back on round number 7.
Call out continuing to impress as well, as he's actually 10-5 right now. No assists because he doesn't need them. He finishes his kills. Actually having the 2.0 KD right now for his team, and he actually has the second most kills in the lobby as well right now, only falling to Creators, who has 11. So overall, really good series for him. We'll see if he can continue this throughout this best of 3, as we are still on the first map. But for the defense of eUnited, they've had Alfalma allocate himself inside of Freezer to slow down that take. But all of a sudden, Tempo appearing on the other end of the map. Looks like they want to show some different cards.
Pretty much 4 or 5 of them, if I saw correctly, all stacked up, ready to go down tower steps over the next few moments. They will have to take some time to more than likely deal with the hatch sitting over here in meeting room, so it's possible we could still see the actual push split itself up a little bit, but for the time being, they're all staying stacked here, and the Clash is playing for a defense over here towards Freezer at the moment. Not alone either, has the support of 2 additional players, but Alfalma on that Clash is going to have to move here and now position it directly on the outside of the pillar room push into the main hallway, which is one of those crucial areas that the Clash would have had to play into that I was talking about in the pre-round.
Well, some torture work on the hatches. We'll see how suited Dream is for that. Call out doing a very good job on torch fuel and everything else in between getting these open. Dream gonna finally get open this hatch, and still on decent time as well. I don't know if they're gonna go for security, since they will be pushing this back area, but we also saw Call Out get it the last time just in case they needed to rotate, so probably would not be the worst thing in the world if they did end up popping that security hatch. Drones down into pillars, see that it's clear, but they do still have to worry about the Clash being played at the end of bunker here. Stuns in now, burning through all the Womai discs as well as ADSs. Most of eUnited falling back towards site as Tempo takes first control of the pillars area, but eUnited mainly focused on this bunker setup, trying to delay Tempo Storm as long as possible.
Both are going to swing. They spot the Clash. They now know that's an issue they'll have to deal with. Incendiary darts were ready to be thrown out, but not going to be utilized at this point due to the extra pressure that's now coming in. Yeti with a great swing behind the Clash takes out not just Crazy, but Creators as well. Immediately, Tempo's push has been stunted, and Crazy as well has lost all of the additional utility. That should be 3 additional darts that were available, now gone and unavailable for use the rest of this round. Time getting low, 20 seconds left. Sloppy's going to have to take these few precious seconds just to open up the wall leading into the site. Dream has to start this well, and he does. Is he ready for the immediate rotate to come in from Grixer, though? Unfortunately not. We'll see the trade happen there. Tempo go down to 2 and are now trying to force the issue past the Clash, who is stunning them in the process. Grixer's going to get one more, constantly being on the foot for these trades. Mark will also get an additional pickup, but one more time, Grixer chimes in for that final trade to finish off the round for eUnited and lock down this site for the defense.
The defenses on Oregon are just nasty. It seems like no matter what bans we get, John, this map just leans towards the defense, at least for the time being. Even with the Maverick on the field, it's still pretty complex when it comes down to those executions with the amount of utility that they have to go through. I mean, we saw that the Goyo pick before from Tempo Storm on defense. eUnited is not even bringing that, and it's still such a cluster down there when it comes to throwing in all of that utility to burn through all of those ADSs as well as those Womai discs. So until they're able to somehow go around those or get around those, we're more than likely going to be seeing Oregon stay the way that it is. Now we're going to have the kitchen dining setup, actually, so not going to be going towards the kitchen meeting, which is what we're used to seeing. This is becoming a little bit more popular. It's still our least played site here on Oregon, only having 4 plays and a win rate of 50%. We'll see if Yeti and the boys can possibly solve that and fall on the right side of the coin.
This tiny site that we'll go on to as well. eUnited choosing a little bit of a different path than what we saw from Tempo, but stays in line with what we saw from them a couple days ago against the Sonics, as well as they also chose during that match to play into this site there. The reinforcement on the hatches being a priority here for eUnited just to start things out. Both of those get covered pretty quickly. They are going to make a rotate hole through that kitchen avenue into the inside of dining as well, just to open up a little bit more later round play for eUnited. Overall, like you had talked about when we played onto the site for the first time on Monday, Stokes, there's quite a bit of destructibility even with the hatches being covered, most notably from that area at top of Small Tower. You can shoot right down into the A site pretty easily in Dining Hall, so the defenders have to be very cautious of that, and as we're seeing, they'll take the strategy to play off-site, away from the Dining Hall itself, and towards the inside of Kitchen, where they're going to feel a lot safer. Same for Showers, the avenue that Alfalma and Yeti are currently holding.
Yeah, and a lot of the time when it comes down to vertical play, you have to know which way the bars run as well. I don't know actually how the bars run upstairs inside of Small Tower, mainly because I never go up there when I play this map. But once they eventually work their way up there and pop them open, I'll make sure to note it. I believe they run north to south, which makes it a little easy to see the front end. Yes, they do. They run north to south. So that's the most balanced way to make those. That's why I was thinking it through my head. And you know, the Ubisoft map devs are usually pretty good about that. So making it to where you can only see the frontmost part of the A bomb site. We have our first pick finally. It's actually going to be Call Out. He's been very aggressive throughout the series so far, but finally gets well, a lot of damage done to him for his deeds. Dream with a nice torch. He'll picks up Alfalma inside of Showers as well. Only 3 eUnited remembers maining.
About one by one, we do see Yeti try to get aggressive. He's been a great proponent here for keeping the team in even terms and more importantly, trying to put them ahead a little bit here. We will have an attempted push from Dream to try and take out Yeti, walking through a goo mine in the process of that and trying to get them closer and closer to the site. Will be a success. The goo mine, of course, not going to deal a massive amount of damage since he just stepped on it. And now they've got a 5v2 advantage to work off of their tempo, definitely pushing the envelope further and further into their favor. And now even one more step further with that nade kill. An attempted trade to come in from their last man standing is going to be Forrest over on the steps, but it's not going to pan out. Sloppy gets the better of him, and it's a flawless attack from Tempo.
Well, not much to be said on the Tempo end. Everything just fell their way inside of the kills. Overall, amazing round from them, but on the defensive side for eUnited, just not nearly as aggressive as they once were on the previous rounds that they won from the defensive end. That was the one thing that we saw throughout both of those previous rounds, is that eUnited were more prone to take those gunfights or use their utility more aggressively to slow down Tempo Storm. And that did not happen inside of this round. Tempo Storm was allowed to abuse almost every single angle that they had at their disposal, including making some inside of the panels for Showers and taking out most of the members inside of theirs. So for eUnited, whether it be biting for the shower hallway more or what have you, I don't exactly know. I haven't seen that site played out too much, so I can't exactly tell you what the immediate thing that comes to mind is for the errors. But as with everything, when it comes down to a flawless round, it's usually because of the gunplay and not being close enough for those refrags. That's something that we talk about a lot when it comes to offense, but it's still such an important factor on the defense. Playing close to your defensive members, allowing them to have that intel on where you're taking gunfights or where the other members of the team are, so that they're aware of the situation when it comes down to moments like that where they have to refrag.
So we're back upstairs for what could be the final round of the map. Tempo, of course, with that most recent victory, getting themselves up onto map point, putting them one more away for shutting this series down if they're able to accomplish that task. Just had them spawned out. We've got a pretty split spawn here, so once again, you can definitely expect quite a bit of tower play to be coming in the early portion of the round from Tempo to clear Attic out and get the wall open. That said, you've also probably going to have a few players working their way in from small side just to do the quick clear around the big window and small tower areas too. We can see Creators who's going by there, but it looks like they're actually going to bypass that. Very little play happening near the big window area, and instead we are going to see the large majority of them just head directly towards big tower and start playing for attic control. So Alfalma will more than likely be free to rotate back to the site within the next couple of seconds here.
Not a bad plan, but it's going to be on the entries for Tempo Storm to open up this round. That was something that eUnited had decent amount of trouble with on this site, so we'll see if Tempo Storm is any better at it. For Tempo, though, they are just now getting tower control. They've already torched open the bottom of the double panel for attic, and open with the exothermic now, but plenty of utility to burn through. Is yet another disc goes down from Yeti. Have ADSs as well, so this is going to eat up most of the utility here for Tempo Storm, but they've brought plenty of it. Pardon me, but they actually ended up bringing 2 sets of frag grenades as well. I'm assuming that was going to be for where Yeti's playing right now, just so that they can nade him completely out of attic once they've burned all of that utility. But we'll have to see how this goes. Each team seems to go about things in a different fashion for this attic setup.
Going to see the Ash Charge go in. The first one looks like it's going to get eaten up. The second one, I believe, was not a success, actually. That one's not going to get shot out just yet, so shield still remains intact. A frag grenade will have to move in right next to Yeti in order to take that out. It will be a success, though. Attic access is now available for Tempo. Tempo also trying to open up some window avenues to play off of here, too. You can see Mark with a very, very slight angle onto the rotate. He's hoping somebody will go slightly too far to the left here. Alfalma would be the obvious one, and that he'd be able to punish that from his current position. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think it's potentially a little bit misleading for what he's actually looking at, given the pattern on the actual soft destruction. Creator's trying to accomplish something similar from the outside of the attic window here. That one also not yielding too many results. Alfalma with a great C4 toss is going to be able to eliminate Dream, and Yeti will take some contest against Creators, taking them out. That's the diffuser down, and no one from Tempo anywhere nearby to retrieve it. More than we're going to start to fall as they just commit to the execute now, with numbers falling further and further out of their favor. Mark is alone. Yes, he'll be able to get the diffuser back, kind of, but it's not going to matter because Yeti will immediately shut him down, and we'll have a flawless round from eUnited to respond to the flawless one that we just had from Tempo.
Okay, well, we're maxed out inside of relegation now after those series of very weird events between these two teams. Back-to-back flawless rounds. Amazing patience there from eUnited. Didn't give up a pick, didn't rotate when they knew that anyone was on the Storm's window. A lot of positivity there for eUnited. Tempo Storm missing the buck when it came to the hard destruction. They got the attic open, but we saw no work coming to the master closet wall in order to plant games. They actually ended up adjusting themselves towards the double window for dorms. Don't exactly know why the call was for that, especially when eUnited had everyone up still inside of sight. That makes it to where you can just hold each other's crosses. If anybody hops inside of that double window, they're more than likely dead. And we saw that represented by the way that the Valkyrie was holding that Alfalma from attic.
So into the basement. Once again, eUnited so far with a 1-1 record on this half for trying to defend it. Tempo certainly probably a little bit more excited. They go back to this one since they do have a better track record with coming out with a win here. But the last time they were attacking it, eUnited had a pretty straightforward defense to shut things down. So Tempo needs to make a series of their own improvements. Otherwise, they're going to be looking at an overtime extension to this map where they've got to play out 3 more rounds, and where they could potentially not end up being the winner at the end of it. United still has a great chance to take this map away from Tempo and have them with the map advantage as we get ready to head into our second one right after this.
Well, Tempo enters the field, and this is going to be their last shot at closing this out inside of relegation. eUnited bringing the clash once again that was so successful the last time Alfalma was running it. Hopefully it will follow suit so they can close this out. Needs to get to OT here. That's exactly what eUnited wants to happen. Call out, still leading the field, but someone's caught up to him. It's Tugboat Yeti, tugging along for sure. 11-3-10 right now on that Wamai. Putting in a lot of work, as you can see from that score line, especially with those 10 deaths. That man's been in a lot of gunfights. And it seems to be working out for eUnited right now as Tempo Storm slowed down on this offense, but that's what we've came to expect once again from Oregon. So Tempo Storm now going to have to do some work on these hatches. They're actually going to exothermic one of them open. Forrest has both of his electro claws, but the other electro claw actually isn't on the E-box hatch. Instead, it's on the single panel for B.
So that does mean that that first hatch will get opened up without any contest. No attempts to open up the second one just yet. But we could very easily have the Maverick get the job done if the need arises for it. Dream will be the player on duty to do that. Crazy's going to start rotating down. He more than likely won't be the only one either. You can expect at least one more player from Tempo to more than likely group up with him over the next few seconds. Maybe you have to hold my breath on that one, though, because we've got 2 more working their way down main stairs, and Dream looks like he's going to be the one to probably swing and support the push through Bunker to try and access that second avenue. Drone's going to sneak by, get a good little sneak preview in terms of what the setup looks like on the inside of that Bunker rotate. Also a swift line from the Maverick to open up some play to the inside of the E-box angles too. Now Alfalma is going to start to swing out on his own here, start to throw a little bit of that aggression back. The last time we saw this attack happen, Yeti was able to get 2 on the swing. But no, this time it's going to come back, and instead it's going to be Creators to get 2, including Yeti, getting revenge from just a few rounds back. The Clash is holding the Ash in place, but there is no one to swing behind the Clash. No, I take that back. Callouts here. Comes in at the last second to save the day, and now he's going to have to do it even further as he swings in, gets himself a second. Can't make the third happen, though. Dream is still there to trade it back out against Callout, finally ending his reign as he tries to go for the E-box push. Locked into a 3v2. Tempo has the advantage, and still 40 seconds left in order to make this commitment. Not only that, but you've got Crazy and Mark committing to a pinch, and that's going to finish it off. Tempo will take control on round number 12 and finish off the map 7-5 in their favor.
Oh, and that's a rough one for EU. They seemed like they had it. That Clash play inside of Bunker worked out so well, delaying so much time, but heads up play there from the Maverick to peek off of them reinforcing that hatch. They didn't have anything to stop them from pushing it any longer because there's no Goyo shield there like Tempo plays or anything of the sort. So Tempo knew the exact thing that they were walking into. Hey, they're going to back up, they're going to reinforce this wall, and there's nothing there to stop us from peeking that because they don't have anything. They don't have any smoke, and we're the only one that flamed that area, and it's to the back corner. So overall, amazing round. Good stuff from Tempo Storm to adapt to the situation that they were walking into. And hey, that's why we're at that 7-5. But eUnited has definitely made some strides. There's a difference. There's a fire there, especially for Callout and Yeti.
Yeah, certainly the case. United tries their best, but a counter to their strategy comes in on the final round. It does allow for Tempo Storm to take control, at least for now, of our series. They lead 1-0. Stick with us, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back from the break, we're going to have our analyst desk break down the first map and get us ready for the second map to decide if we will be able to see Tempo Storm move on and claim a swift 2-0, or if we're going to a third map to figure out who's the winner of this series. Stick with us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back with more action.
Welcome back. I'm Jackie Jing, and I'm with Veli and Jesse. And Map 1 Oregon going to Tempo Storm. This map ended up being a lot tighter than I expected. Slow start from eUnited, but they battled back. Jesse, eUnited was all over the board in my opinion. Can you elaborate on their failed attack strategies, but also their aggressive, unpredictable defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think eUnited really played an eUnited style of Siege, right? I mean, on their attacks, they started off with a lot of that, like bringing the Ying, trying that out with Grixer, obviously, and I don't think they were finding much success with that. It wasn't until they kind of brought things in on the attack that they started to find rounds. And then on their defensive rounds, again, it was the same thing where a lot of those wins were coming from just like weird plays. They're defending in the dorms and they just have two people push through master bedroom, or they're playing down in the basement and they really do rely on the clash with Yeti backing up Alfalma on that role. So it's a lot of just like strange ways to win rounds on defense, and that's kind of what we know eUnited for, and they definitely lived up to expectations.
One of the things I definitely noticed as well, Jackie, is the fact that whenever eUnited leaned heavily on whether it's Ying or Clash, it was like that was plan A, plan B, and plan C. Outside of those two ops, whenever they were in play, it wasn't like they were able to create any type of playmaking outside of those operators. And whenever they got wins, they were able to do that. So maybe that's something that they should look into later on.
Yeah. Veli, I actually wanted to talk to you specifically about Grixer's usage of Ying. We just heard Jesse touching on that a little bit, so...
Oh, yes, most definitely. I'm glad you called out on that. So, Grixer, it was the second time he brought in Ying, I believe. And he threw it in, and he was with somebody. I forgot the name. I erased it in my notes. But after the Candela exploded up top, he rotated all the way around from Dare to Closet and then died in a 1v1. And then his teammate came in for the trade and then eventually died as well. The timed aggression with the Candelas just wasn't there, and it seemed like an unnecessary rotate in my opinion. But I was really happy to see Grixer get off of her immediately and then get on Zofia. We saw him be a lot more aggressive with the playmaking around that as well. I mean, if you want to bring Ying, that's perfectly fine with me. I like her as an operator, don't tell anybody. But you have to be on time when it comes to these pushes and rotations around her Candela explosives.
Yeah, and I want to say, I think Ying can work in a lot of situations, but Oregon just seems like a really tough map for her. I mean, there's a lot of, you take a look at the dorms, right, and there's so many walls you can hide behind, there's so many rooms, same with the basement. There's just a lot of corners that you can just duck behind, and all of a sudden the Candelas aren't going to be a big problem for you. So maybe on other maps that will work well for Grixer, but I'm glad as well as Veli that he jumped off after just 2 rounds.
I didn't mean Candela explosives, I just meant Candelas, my bad.
Correction. But Jesse, I want to talk to you about Tempo Storm a little bit. You were actually impressed with Tempo's attack strats. What did you enjoy watching?
I mean, there were a few different things, right? I thought their laundry adaptations when they were attacking down there was nice. They went for that freezer main stairs push first of all, and they played it really well with the Capitao, I thought, and then they just never did that again. And constantly you saw the defense United constantly put a lot of resources over towards freezer, but it was never a big issue again. So they kind of threw their opponents for a loop there, Tempo Storm. And then also I noticed when they were defending on kitchen dining, and the electric claw was really well hidden. It was in showers. It was a great defense, I thought, from eUnited. But what did they do over on the side of Tempo Storm? They used the exothermic charge up above. That was sloppy, using a really big brain play to place it on the ceiling above the breach, and it still opened up the wall. So I thought that was really, really smart from Sloppy and the rest of TS.
Yeah, and Jesse, just touching on Sloppy there. Veli, he had a good showing today. Yeah, what about his performance really stood out to you?
Everything. I love it. The one thing that Tempo, in my opinion, really needed was just someone that was able to be aggressive at the right time and really make that play. You look at other teams, they have the Merc and Bolos, whoever wants to go out there and risk everything, but also be successful while doing it. There was one play in particular that Sloppy did that I really liked, and even though it was basic, it just showed his confidence, and it was something that they needed in order to win that round. It was when a flashbang came through when he was in supply. He ran into blue blinded and still got the kill, and then continued to wrap around and help his team win that 2v2. That's the type of Sloppy I've always wanted to see. When Sloppy was first rumored to join the scene, eUnited's coach, Bagel, he told me, I said, tell me about Sloppy. I know nothing about him, right? Bagel said, he's a fragger. He's good. Typical Bagel hype, right? And now I see it. I want to see Sloppy more in action. Earlier in the season, I wasn't impressed. If he plays like this, he's really going to show out.
Wow. We'll see if he will continue with that stellar performance, but our community poll result is in, gentlemen, and the question was, which team will have the best individual performance? And Tempo Storm got 51%, eUnited got 48%. So thank y'all for participating in our community poll question. But all right, we are moving on to map 2. Y'all sticking to your guns, you changing things up. Veli, what are you thinking?
I honestly still feel like it's too close to call. And it's funny because when it comes to the poll, I think both teams had really big highlights individually. So, yeah, I'm still sticking with eUnited.
Jesse?
I mean, we're moving over to Tempo Storm's map pick. I think Tempo Storm had a few bad rounds in there, and eUnited definitely did their thing. Yeah. But no, I say Tempo Storm still take this.
All right, y'all sticking to your guns then. So we shall see. Will Tempo Storm win? Will eUnited get the victory? Don't go anywhere. We got map 2 next on Theme Park.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the North American League. We are just about ready to jump into our second map, the second series of the evening. eUnited going up against Tempo Storm, with Tempo Storm just barely squeaking by their first map in regulation. Nearly had to play that one out in OT, but they do indeed take control of Oregon. And now we get ready to shift over to Clubhouse, a map that's very familiar, of course, to eUnited, with them just having played it the other day. Tempo, of course, we've seen them jump onto it as well, but it's been at least a week since we've had them play it, so they're going to be jumping back into it for the first time, at least in a little while here.
Yeah, both of the records not so hot on it, but eUnited at least has a win on Clubhouse coming into this, but it is Tempo's pick, so I'm assuming that this has been well scripted, well read through. They've dry ran, they've done all the things possible in order to make Clubhouse successful. But as we just saw with Tempo Storm winning Oregon, just because it's your map pick does not mean that you're going to win it, and that's why we play the series there, John. So we'll see if Tempo can possibly take this in 2-0 fashion, or if eUnited has a different mindset coming into Clubhouse.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's find out which team is going to come out on top as we're getting started with the map right now. Let's head into Clubhouse, see if Tempo can wrap this one up in a bow real quick, or if eUnited still has that fight left back in them to push this to our third and final map over on Theme Park. First ban is coming up. eUnited gets the first and final ban. Tempo gets the two middle ones there. Let's take a look at the first ban from eUnited, and it's going to be... All right.
Really? Really? Okay.
I love the yee-haw. As he throws. Okay. I don't think that was relevant to the ban. But.
And I play Pot of Greed to draw 3 cards from my deck.
All right. What's the next one? All right.
What's behind door number 2?
I was waiting for things to get crazier. Yeah. I was waiting for like the the Tachanka ban or something like that to come out.
The Tachanka offensive ban. That's what I was waiting for too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Of course, obviously. But Habana is going to make a lot more sense. That one falls in line. We are going to see another Japanese operator get knocked out, as Echo is also going to be removed from the pool, and we'll have our final operator coming up right now. I don't want to guess it because of that first ban. All right, this one's going to make a lot more sense. This is going to be Maestro getting knocked out here. So interesting choices coming out. Everything except for that Buck ban being pretty much what we expected. But yeah, the Buck ban.
So yeah, the Buck ban. There's a couple separate implications where Buck is very, very pivotal inside of this map. And it's mostly the upstairs sites being weights as well as CCTV. And it used to be that Buck was played extremely often to Buck underneath these sites. Not weights so much as CCTV, strictly due to the fact that stock is easily accessible. The skeleton key works super well on that vertical play from down there, as well as he had frag grenades at the time. But we really haven't seen Buck banned out at all. Like, his ban rate is legitimately 0 because he doesn't have frag grenades anymore. No one's really been playing him. He hasn't been the best, and multiple teams on this map, specifically talking about Clubhouse, have said that he's practically been worked out of the meta. So it's kind of weird to see them use their offensive ban in such a weird way, but I'm sure that if they end up winning the series, that will be a question that Jackie will ask.
Could have been something where they like had extra intel as to what Tempo was potentially going to try and do with him, so it could have just been very targeted for one specific strat, but obviously that's just a wild guess in the dark as to why that may have happened. We'll hopefully get more clarification onto that in the interview itself, like you said, if we end up getting that one. So let's take a look and see what the opening setup is going to look like. It is going to be the cache site, so not too much room for variance here in terms of defender setups. Everything usually falls into place the same general sort of way, and it's looking like we've got that right now. We're just the usual reinforcements going down into garage and onto the balcony wall. We got a bit of an extended hold here from Alfalma, but that's just to set up the camera in the corner, right where that smoke and that steam is coming out from, right up there. So hopefully gives them good vision onto anybody from Tempo that's going to try and push in and pressure those windows outside of security.
Well, we're going to be fighting over everyone's favorite wall in the entire game here in just a second. The CCTV wall. Plenty of hard destruction to be able to handle that, as well as having Mark on in play will help them out quite a bit. They do have a mute jammer, but they also have Thatcher as well, since Thatcher wasn't banned out, which is going to make everything mostly a lot faster from the offensive side. So we should be seeing pushes happen a lot earlier now, just because they don't have to worry about getting all that hard destruction done. And they can go right into utility burn and getting rid of most of that. We already have 2 kills from Dream all the way outside on the warehouse balcony area, the rafters that sit out there after they got the wall open. 2 very nice shots from him, so Dream starting things off early.
Good start indeed for our attacking squad, especially on a map that's generally speaking very heavily preferred to the defenders, or at least has been in the past. The remaining 3 players going to try to hold from within inside of the site itself, but with already the breach being opened up and soft walls being prevalent leading into cache, along with just the drone pressure currently coming onto Alfalma, it's not going to make it very easy to stay alive here in any sort of situation. Creators nearly able to take out Alfalma, and Mark's going to finish the job with his frag grenade. Crazy is also able to locate Yeti and isolate him for the kill. Now everything falls to Forrest, currently holding on catwalk inside a garage. Does still have a chance to stop this, but it's a very, very low chance at this point, as I'm sure everyone from Tempo is rapidly trying to hunt him down. We'll get the confirmation onto that first player, but immediately everybody else from Tempo starts wrapping in from construction, and they will take him out, finishing off the round for themselves as they go up 1-0.
Shout out to Forrest for securing the bag. That was the move right there. More than likely not going to win the round. Might as well get my frag. I got 1 on the board. We didn't go out without anyone getting a kill on the defense, so that's good. As for the hold, though, it's simply put like this: you probably shouldn't, openly put your face in things that you don't know if someone's peeking, and that's what happened. That was really it. Tempo Storm had Dream set up on the balcony and was able to get 2 kills because of that. People just weren't prepared for Dream to already have presence on the CCTV wall. So for the foreseeable future, eUnited's probably going to be playing things a lot closer to the chest.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go into the second round. We are going to be heading into basement now for eUnited and seeing if they'll have a little bit of better luck with the defense on this site. Generally speaking, this is where we see quite a bit of the success for defenders between the first 2 sites being played out, so hopefully they'll have a good chance to win it. Legion still coming into the fold for them, as they're one of the few teams that still actively runs it currently inside of the Pro Division. Forest will be picking that up once more. They do still find use from the operator along with the goo mines that come with him. For the attacking side, things also looking pretty straightforward. The only real noticeable change from the last round is just going to be the inclusion of the Capital, which actually might have been their last round too. I don't remember the exact operator count, but either way, they're going to bring that in for this one to add that little bit of extra utility, the extra smokes, along with the incendiary bolts to be able to isolate out any of the harder to reach pressure from eUnited that is so often very annoyingly placed very deep in the sights here.
Well, this is an EU setup if I've ever seen one. We've got no castle being ran, so that means that we're not going to have his barricades set up, but we're going to have standard barricades set up on billiards as well as the bar connector, and then barbed wire put down, and Dream's already got a kill in the first 18 seconds. I believe that he just shot through the double panel. Where did he even pick up this kill at? I don't see where this man
through
died.
the window, I think?
I have no idea.
Like-
It's
like
all the way across. Yeah, CCTV
security
window. I see the skull all the way over there.
Yep, you can see. I can see a little hole in it, so I'm pretty sure that's
That's
where he got him.
unfortunate. Dream apparently just has X-ray vision if he's Capital with an LMG.
That's just unfortunate for Yeti. Wasn't he one of the players that went down early last round too?
Yes.
Yeah. 0 for 2 on that one for Yeti. This time just getting caught. I'm pretty sure just on timing if someone didn't see him on a drone and called that one out. So some very unfortunate stuff happening for him. Either way, it serves to push Tempo's advantage a little bit further, as they'll take the 5v4, and that will more than likely kill any of the attempted aggressive plans that were going to come out from eUnited on this round. It's potentially too much of a risk for them to try and get aggressive at this point, seeing as if they lose another fight, they're once again down at a 5v3 call-out, the only one really that's able to rationalize at this point. And he's not even really getting aggressive, he just has a close hold on the bottom of main stairs.
Yeah, and Tempo's taking their time as well. Clubhouse is a map that you can rotate pretty well through, but it's very streamlined. Most of the rotations are going to happen through the basement, and once it gets to a certain part of the timer, you're more than likely not going to be able to work your way back upstairs. That's kind of how I segment things in my mind is, okay, if it's like this time on the clock, then more than likely they're at this stage in their setup, so I can't rotate up here or here because there should be nomads or somebody watching it. So we're rapidly approaching that where nothing's going to be able to happen, but they're still going to try as Dream gets challenged working his way down the metal stairs, but eUnited quite skittish after they see their first target at the bottom of the staircase. They skid back to sight and now wait with open arms.
Let's see the time continuing to get lower here. Tempo will need to start forcing the issue sooner or later, with them starting to run out of time within the round itself. After that first kill, it's been very silent from them. Like you said, they had a lot of excess time, but that advantage is now pretty much completely gone, and they haven't really started to set themselves up in the basement yet. The good news, though, is that with all this time that was spent with them kind of posturing up, they more than likely, I would assume at least, were able to get some good drone intel in terms of what the setup looks like. So when this execute comes in, we would hope from Tempo that it's going to be a very decisive one, and they'll immediately know where to jump. A nice nitro cell from Alfalma, and Grixer will also be able to get aggressive. I take back everything I said as eUnited shut it down entirely. Not a single successful entry point picked up by anyone on Tempo on that attack.
Oh man, I feel like I just rewatched Game of Thrones: The Red Wedding right there. That was something else. Everybody just died. I don't really know how to explain it. Oh man, what a massacre on the receiving end there from Tempo Storm. Tempo, I think the best way is what you said earlier, John. They were posturing the whole time. They didn't attempt to take anywhere specific downstairs till the dying moments, and they went for that church push. They didn't have anybody ready to try and stop the rush panel we talk about all the time for Armory, which we saw quickly exploited by the defense to use that C4 that killed not only the exothermic, but also the thermite himself, rendering the offense practically useless. Now they have to attempt to push through a lot of areas that turn into funnels, and eUnited had those shotguns at the ready. Amazing round from them, especially after getting bowled over in that first round.
And so into the third round, where we're going to have eUnited making another attempt for the upstairs hold. This one definitely went a lot more into the favor of Tempo Storm, so there's probably a bit of nerves stacking up here for eUnited as they'll make a second attempt at that, but hopefully just some adjustments in the early round, and they'll be able to avoid the mistakes that were made back on round number 1, and at a minimum be able to have the manpower to fight in the late round. As if you remember correctly, back on round 1, Tempo was able to find 2 very early picks, and from that point forward, eUnited were fighting a 3v5 within the site. Just didn't really have a chance to start off with. Hopefully this time, things will be a little bit different.
Well, very similar setup for eUnited. Hopefully we don't see such an aggressive peek on the CCTV window this time, but I don't think we'll be seeing that after that very, very big error that was made the last time around. Forest still playing in the top of the garage up in rafters. Good spot for him, especially as the Wamai. Those discs come to him over time, so he'll be able to delay more and more as time goes on with those. Has a maximum of 5 as well, and that's quite a chunk of utility if you're going to ask me about it. Creators, as well as the rest of Tempo Storm now, getting CCTV wall open, doing it in good time as well, which they absolutely should. No denial here from the defense. They're ready for Tempo to get that wall, and they want to attempt to prevent them from getting into sight this time around. The main focus for Tempo Storm, if they're going to go for that B bomb, should be the garage after this, but we still have quite a spread offensive unit here for Tempo, so it really could go either way.
Still with 2 minutes on the clock, though. Plenty of time left for Tempo to make their decisions. We are going to see Sloppy use the second exothermic charge to try and open up one of the garage panels. We don't have anyone actively defending that from eUnited, so no attempt at a trick to try and stop that panel from getting opened up. Going to be done successfully from Tempo, and that means the pressure is going to start to build a little bit more onto players like Forest. We're holding on the inside of Garage currently. Forest, like I said before, doesn't have any additional support downstairs in the first floor. No players able to rotate in from another room. And Tempo, with their drone work, now know that for certain. So they know it's just a simple matter of isolating out the one player on Catwalk, being able to eliminate them, and then they'll have full Garage control to work the takeoff of.
Well, there's a couple of possibilities here, especially with how spread EU is right now. They could possibly go for rotations as we see Callout and Yeti scamper off screen towards main stairs. So looks like they're both rotating downstairs right now. Yes, so we more than likely are going to see a clear from Tempo here, and they should be there to combat that. This could delay a lot of time. Yeti and Callout already on the scene. The police are here and they're ready to defend their home. We'll see how well they do. Need to get into sight now, though. Tempo doing a very good job of clearing the downstairs when it comes to this info game. They've already lost quite a few drones, though, as we're going to have Mark be first one in the building downstairs, but it doesn't seem as though they know where he's coming from. He wants to rotate through that kitchen hallway. It works out for Tempo. Mark gets the first kill on to Callout. Yeti's still alive, but very low HP.
Mark also still looking for the players that are rotated into the bar area itself a few moments ago. Yeti's going to be one of those players, but he'll be quickly dealt with after he finally gets into the fight and is able to take out Crazy. One more left standing. Grixer, well, I think he did down a player there, yeah, sitting in the corner. Was not able to fully finish him off, so we'll see the immediate trade come in from his teammate. And Dream will be finishing things off for Tempo as they once again claim a successful attack on CCTV and Cash, putting them at 2-0 on that slight attack and 2-1 overall on the map so far.
I will definitely give that to Tempo Storm for the info game there. They were very slow until they saw that rotation from eUnited. I'm assuming that they had a bar camera hidden somewhere in the rafters. Either way, good intel from Tempo Storm to know that that was happening and take the initiative to stop anything that was going to go on downstairs if they were going to attempt a plant. And that was the highlight of that round and why Tempo ended up winning that. They were able to collapse on those 2 rotations downstairs, got those opening frags they needed, and continued to bowl over the site after site did not have any more help coming.
Moving into our next round here, over the next second or two, we are finally going to see United try out that third and final site, and it won't be Bar, because no one's trying that. We are going to end up here in Master and Gym for the quick attempt at that from United to see if things will work out a little bit better. Mind you, they still have the option to play into the other upstairs site over in CCTV and Cash, but 2 losses on it so far. Probably not feeling too confident about going right back into that. So the setup should be primarily focused on the site itself, of course, and then extending out into areas like CCTV and Cash, which you can see United setting up for themselves right now. Double reinforcement on, never mind, onto the red stairs wall. There's what I was talking about. They were about to put both down, but they canceled it. So possibility for a rotator, just someone else to come in and reinforce that, which is what's going to happen. We've got the 2 walls. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure this out as it's going.
I just thought it was funny because Kala goes to reinforce it, and they're like, no, Forrest reinforces that. Get away. Stop.
yeah. I was like, okay.
It's like your mom with the ruler when you're a kid. She's like, get away. Stop it.
That's the wrong order.
Oh, no.
Did these reinforcements right, dang it.
We dry ran this yesterday, boys. What are you doing? What are you doing?
It's that wall. You just imagine like the team comms, like, who's reinforcing
I just want to, if anything, I want to get into their comms just to hear Alfalma yell one time. Just once. Because a pissed off Frenchman has to be amazing with these guys. Honestly. It's got to be amazing.
All right, well, we'll see if we can get that for you a little bit later.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Meanwhile, Creators has got a creative angle that he's going to try to play off of behind the fence there. And it looks like it's going to work out, too. Manages to catch Alfalma. I'm pretty sure that was through the hatch. Yup, caught him just as he went probably into his vision point. Took him out on the rotate back through construction. Yeti couldn't see him, I don't think, either, even if he was peeking it. And with that, is going to be able to net them the first kill.
That's just unfortunate. eUnited has to try and find a way to get away from these initial picks, and almost happens again there. Forrest taking quite a bit of damage from Dream inside of Garage, and this is a very fast-moving offense here from Tempo Storm, definitely picking up the pace from what we've seen so far. Already quite a bit of damage onto Forrest, but we just talked about that. Most of the eUnited squad working their way back to site. Still have control of logistics, though. That's a good step in the right direction, but how long are they going to have control of this?
At the moment, Logi still safely under the control of eUnited if it's only a temporary occurrence, though. We're going to see the reinforcement put onto the tatters of that last bathroom panel just as they start to open up the jacuzzi wall. That's going to go off without a hitch, of course, as you saw. Managing to bring the Thatcher into the play, it'll deal with those mute jammers relatively quickly. We do have creators sitting on the outside balcony window just by the site too, and now we have Yeti getting spotted out. Grixer with the first response going on to Tempo here, finds a Nitro Cell pickup over onto creators, ending his what would have been a bit of a wrath that he was getting himself on. Nice, just toss out the window, deals with that real quick. But now Dream is going to take creators' position and still cause a threat to players like Callout and Grixer, who are holding closer inside of the main site.
Well, they've slowed them down from that initial pick, and Alfalma's got to be happy about that one. Frag Grenade rolls in to try and get rid of the castle barricade, but instead rolls underneath and explodes on the other side, more than likely not getting rid of too much utility. Grixer dancing back and forth with death on the single panel inside of sight, but still somehow is able to maintain his life. Now with Tempo Storm working their way in, though, this is going to require a lot from Grixer inside of logistics. He starts things off right, though, with an initial pick. Dream's been downed as well. It's all left up to Crazy to try and clutch inside of this 1 versus 3, and it's definitely doable, but not very much time left. Doesn't even matter. Callout quickly rotates to the top of main stairs, removes him from the game, and eUnited claims round 4.
Yeah, some great stuff from eUnited. Despite the early successes that we saw from Tempo in this area, very little pressure working its way onto the Logi hatch, as well as the actual jacuzzi breach and the main stairs until very late into the round, and we saw them finally start to put pressure onto it. That lack of pressure gave a lot of comfortable breathing room to the eUnited players sitting in that back corner and allowed for them to play out the course of that round without having to constantly keep the eyes in their back of their heads, watching those angles throughout the course of it, and as such, they were able to shut down the actual push through areas like construction relatively easily. We do have a rehost coming in, as you guys probably saw in the chat, and it has been confirmed, so all those players disconnecting, we are going to rehost this round real quickly and jump back into it in a moment. We'll be at that 2-2 scoreline, though, when we come back.
eUnited not looking too bad on Clubhouse, I'd say, and as we're walking through this rehost. It'll only take a minute here, guys, but looking through the stats and what we've gotten so far, even with the opening deaths that eUnited has had, they've still been quite successful at this 2-2 split, and that's actually really good as in comparison to what we've noticed from the stats for the map as well as these squads. The early kills for eUnited, I feel like if they do end up getting or end up being able to slow them down, these initial picks, that they're going to find more rounds because of that. And I know that that's a pretty simple one when it comes down to it, because for the most part, Siege really is about that first pick. That tells a lot of what's going to happen in the round after that. They're doing a good job without it, though, but I will say that Tempo Storm is doing a very good job of getting those entry frags. It's been a little bit of luck, though, all except for, I'll say, Dreams. Those were some very feisty opening kills there that they got.
Yeah, and on top of that, a lot of the time eUnited is playing into that, and there's a reason why. If we talk about the stats in the pregame that we have been discussing, even going back to the Monday match versus the Sonics, eUnited do bring quite a bit of entry power to the table, and that tends to be one of their statistical hallmarks to a certain extent, and where they can tend to get ahead in a round. But as I think Jesse had mentioned on Monday, oftentimes where they will sometimes get that advantage, they'll often lose it by overplaying it, and that's kind of what we're seeing happen right now. Is they're never actually gaining that advantage in the opening of the round. Tempo Storm is instead taking it away from them, and then because of eUnited's tendencies to try and play into that a little bit further, at least in 2 rounds, we've been able to see Tempo Storm follow it through with a second one as well, and turn it into a 5v3, which obviously from that point forward, the round gets incredibly easy, generally speaking, as long as you know what you're doing.
Apologies, but I can't remember who said this, but I remember one of us was talking about eUnited and their playstyle. I believe it was Veli, but it seems that every single time that eUnited is winning a round, it's always a I have to make a play win instead of we just worked very well as a unit. We shut down what the other team was trying to do, and off of that, we successfully won the round. I feel like almost every single instance they're put into this area where it's a requirement for someone to make a play, somebody has to get the opening. They're never just in a very safe area. We're like, yeah, we got the initial pick. Everything's fine. Everyone's up. They're healthy. They're alive. We're working through our utility. It always comes down to that. Hey, we need frags. We need this. We need that. I would like to see them get back to playing more utility based than just, hey, we need to force a play here, because that's what's happening on these defenses. We see eUnited get very aggressive. On Oregon, it was mostly call out that we saw running around the map as Jaeger doing a lot of the aggressive play that we're used to from EU. But now when it's come over to Clubhouse, we see a lot more rotations happening from them, early peaks happening. Tempo Storm already knows what's going to happen when they play eUnited. Every team inside of the NAL knows what's going to happen when they play eUnited. They're going to get aggressive on defense. They're going to do some things that are unorthodox, and you just have to be ready for them. And Tempo Storm is capitalizing off of that. You need to do something else inside of the playbook, John. And to be honest, I don't know exactly what it is for them, just because this playstyle has been so successful for them for so long. Inside of their play, once again, I know that overall they're not doing the best, but for them it seems that they really want to stick to this.
Yeah, and overall, the big problem that eUnited have to look forward, or have to unfortunately look forward to in the future of this map, I'm going to bring this stat point up again. Big surprise is this their overall very, very abysmal win rate when it comes to the attacking side on all maps right now. At least looking at the results from Monday's match they played against the Sonics. Despite winning on this map, they only took one actual attacking round on it. So that's still going to be an issue, despite this being a successful map for them. It does probably lead into part of the reason as to why Tempo may have picked this map, is they think that they can take potentially a close first half here, which so far they're doing exactly that, tying it up at 2-2 as we're getting ready to head into the 5th round in just a second. And as long as they can maintain that overall scoreline, I'm assuming that they believe they can absolutely crush the second half here and go for a quick 2-0. Now, whether that's going to hold itself to be true or not is obviously something that we'll find out in the future, but it is that step point that I want you guys to be paying attention to as we move into the second half.
Only a few minutes now, ladies and gents. We're getting the last few Tempo members in, and then we'll be good to go to jump back into this Clubhouse matchup. But for now, you're stuck with us, and stuck with us talking about these two previous maps. Apologies. I know you guys don't want to stare at us the whole time, and if I could click the start button right now, I would, but I can't. What I do want to bring up, though, going back into this Clubhouse map, is that buck ban. What's your general idea around what came to mind when they went for this buck ban? I don't believe it's inside intel, John. I really think that it was strictly just because of the skeleton key and how they could possibly abuse it inside of the cache room.
Yeah, it would have to be that. Like, to be honest with you, you're probably going to know way more. You're probably going to have way more insight on that ban than I ever would. To me, I'm completely blanking on that one. I don't know why we would see the buck ban in today's,
I don't know either,
so to speak. Seeing as how little use he gets, I just can't, personally, I just can't rationalize that one. So that we'll leave that one up to the analysts.
Can somebody phone Michael in right now? Anybody? Anyone? Please?
yeah, that's probably the caster that would be able to get
we need a Kickstarter review real quick. Be greatly appreciated. I just want to know if I'm right. Like, if that's all I want to know. It's
yeah, for me, I'm not even gonna try to throw my knowledge at that one. And we've got all 10 players connected, I'm pretty sure, folks. I think we're just waiting on one or two more to come back from a quick little AFK, and then we should be good to resume the match. And like I said, we are going to be jumping back into it from the very start of that round, right at the 2-2 scoreline that those teams were at. It's a deadlocked match right now between the two teams. Keep in mind, if you are just joining the stream itself, Tempo currently has the series advantage at 1-0 since they just took Oregon 7-5 about 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, the previous series was very, very weird. Can I just put that one out there? The Dark Zero TSM game, Dark Zero just did not look like Dark Zero at all. I felt really, really bad, especially going into that series. They seemed very excited about it. After losing to SSG, I figured that they would more than likely, pick up the embers and go, hey, we still have a flame here. We can still make something happen, right? And they just sputtered out. I don't know exactly what happened inside of the mental game there, but it really did seem mental and not just, oh, hey, we don't have the ability to beat TSM. I think they need to go back to the drawing board, and whether it is that rigid play that that everyone was talking about inside of that series or what have you, I really do feel like they just need to go back to the headspace and figure some things out. But finally, we're back into our game, folks. Tempo and eUnited can resume. We're in round 5. Let's figure out where we're going.
And there you go, folks. Right back into that scoreline. We are going to be going into a basement round. Following this one up, eUnited still on defense. Tempo still on the attack, but only for these next 2 rounds. And we'll be switching out, and we'll see how United is going to fare on the attack for this map. Tempo, of course, working with that same issue, just to a little bit of a lesser extent. they've been able to field with it pretty well so far, especially with regards to the early round, being able to net up 2 rounds for themselves. Now looking to see if they can put that 3rd one on the board, and maybe 4 too, if they allow themselves to get it. Little 6-pick coming out there at the last moment from our defenders as they're going to bring the Mozzie into the fold and hide it.
I just had my AC unit just like launch water all over my book. Like
Nice.
it just like spat on me from the ceiling.
Well done.
So you turn your computer off on Monday, and I get water thrown on me on Wednesday. That's how it goes. So apparently wet Wednesdays. Anyways, past that, we've saved the paper. It's still usable. It didn't land on any of the pen that I was using to write down all the score lines, so we're good. But we're gonna be headed downstairs. We're gonna have another roam set up here for eUnited. This time with the Mozzie, Mute, and Vigil. So this is the down home roam strat that we usually see, all except for the castle. Once again, eUnited going to use the default barricades for the doors inside of the bar area instead.
Tempo Storm spawned out, ready to attack. United just taking care of the last few things. Last couple barricades getting worked up before Tempo start to move in and tear them down. Call out. He's got a really interesting position right now as he's playing very close up to that kitchen doorway. Only wanted to do it for a split second, though, just to capitalize on Mark or anybody else from Tempo that might have run through without checking the doorway. But it's seeming like that is not going to happen. So after a little bit of delay here, Call out still playing around the bar, trying to punish out anybody that would also try to take early map control here. He's more than likely going to find himself backing up to the site.
Well, Tempo Storm warming up the drones here and looking for the unit of eUnited. Call out, playing near those main stairs with that backpack, Alfalma and Yeti, all the way across inside of rafters. This is something similar to what we saw from the series on Monday, John. We actually saw both of them play up here, but I believe either Call out rotated downstairs almost immediately or ended up getting picked up early, but now that memory serves myself, he actually did this exact same thing. Rotated back down the main stairs and rotated into church to sit there and be a nuisance with that backpack turning on and off constantly. The good news about that backpack as well, though, is it continues to mess with drones throughout the entire round, as long as he continuously turns it on and off with that battery life. And it goes through all of those floors to mess with those drones as well. So for Alfalma and Yeti, it does seem like they possibly have a third up here until Sloppy's droned out the entire area. Alfalma and Yeti both going to abandon rafters as they've wasted quite a bit of time already. This is a full roam clear here from Tempo Storm as most of their offensive units have been dedicated to that top floor.
We're going to see them quickly put the barricade up an oil pit on the way back just to make sure. They've got a little alarm for themselves if somebody from Tempo tried to follow that through, but not going to happen. The player that did jump onto Catwalk in Garage is a good 5 to 10 seconds behind that retreat from eUnited, so they're going to be in pretty good straits to keep themselves alive. And now we sit with the same issue that Tempo had when they attacked this site the last time. It's just they're not giving themselves a whole lot of time to set up for the actual basement attack, and that's a very scary thing because they got immediately shut down the last time they tried to take this playstyle into the basement on the last attempt of the round. And they even had a man advantage for it last time too. They had the 5v4. This time they don't even have that to play off of, so that's going to be an even more dangerous thing. Now we've got them starting to move into the basement, getting ready for the attack now. You've got Nitro Cells primed on the defensive side, ready to stop this. And in just a moment, the execute is going to come through by the virtue of the fact that, well, time is running out and Tempo need to commit to this. So let's see how well it's going to work.
Alfalma inside of dirt. He's going to be the first point of contact. Ends up downing Mark. Sloppy all alone now, but Creators picks him up. I'm going to assume all the way from blue. What a great shot. Tempo Storm all of a sudden opens up Armory like a book. It's all left up to Tugboat Yeti to try and shut down this offensive take here. Yeti gets one. Callout gets another. Oh, no, but they're all over this. Diffuser down, but he can't win it out. eUnited shut down the dirt take and take round 5.
Last player, if you were wondering. You're going to see it right here. It is going to be the player sitting right behind the bomb chassis and smartly dodging that fight to make sure that the round gets secured for eUnited. 3-2 is now the scoreline. The potential for our defenders to take the advantage after all. But of course, Tempo Storm want to stop this, and no, this is not happening.
Oh, it is most definitely happening.
This is not happening.
I don't... Oh, I see it now.
No, it's happening.
No, stop it. No, I see it now. I thought you were like, I was like, alibi? I didn't even look at the site.
They can't change it in this phase, right? It's locked now, right?
No, I cursed it on Monday.
They have to be doing this just because we gave it so much slack on Monday.
I'm gonna let you know right now. This is not.
All right,
it's not gonna work. I don't care if it works. It's still just not gonna work.
What if it works? What are you saying? Even if it works, it doesn't work? How does that work?
It doesn't. That's how.
All right, well, this is a bar defense, ladies and gentlemen. Just gonna let you all look at it real quick.
So,
Only time you're gonna see this for a few months.
so do we walk through all of the problems with bar or the positivity of bar?
I give him the positive one,
Okay,
just to
the
make it look
positive
good.
things about bar are nothing. The negative things about bar is the entire upstairs is soft, except for construction. There you go. That's my TED talk on bar.
All right, thank you very
You're
much.
so very
folks.
welcome.
We'll take it back to the main stage now. We've got Tempo Storm, probably very confused as to why they're attacking bar, but hopefully not confused for too long here. It's they don't want to run out of time to set up the attack, just like they did on that basement run.
You know what I hate? I hate that this is somehow going to work and then Flynn's going to text me about it. That's what I hate. That's what I hate so much.
I don't know, man. It seems like a pretty solid setup to me for eUnited.
I would hope it's a solid setup, John. This is professional play. I'm just putting that one out there. There is going to be a roam game upstairs, and that's exactly what you need to do for this bar site. As many memes as I can possibly make about it. We'll get serious here for just a second. They have some nice castle barricades set up as well, but the issue is they don't have anything to deny, so people are going to have to get very aggressive. And once this top control is handed over to the Tempo Storm, that's where things are going to get really hard for eUnited. The tide's all of a sudden going to start rising, and they're the one tied to the pole, if you understand.
I don't even know where Dream just got hit from. Looked like a shot that came through the inside of the site, but I don't think anyone from eUnited's even in there anymore, so a little confused as to where he gets hit, but either way, it brings him down to under 25 HP. Forrest is still going to be holding a position in the site, or at least slightly in the site, sitting behind that little half wall in the middle of bar. Forrest, you can also see, has a bunch of ADSs, just the one on the floor, but I'm pretty sure he's got a second one somewhere on the wall too, trying to make sure that he doesn't get completely overwhelmed. In the meanwhile, here, eUnited also committing themselves to quite a few rotates to try and make sure that they can shut down Tempo when the actual execute works its way in. Now, Tempo, of course, are going to be a little bit cautious on this, just because they're probably a little bit unaware as to what eUnited have brought to the table, and we wouldn't really be blaming them for that, given that this is a very rare treat we've got in front of us right now. It's very spread out from both eUnited and Tempo, as Tempo tries their hardest to figure out what the best path is going to be to approach the attack on this site.
Oh, plenty of time here as well, and they have all of the top control. Yeti and Alfalma rotating up main. Could have some kills here for Crazy, but I'm going to assume that they hear him stomping around above. They blow Billiard's wall as well, which means that they more than likely are going to want to plant A, but there's still a long road ahead of them, especially with Yeti and Alfalma down here once again, but apparently did not hear Crazy above them. As Crazy's going to get one, could he possibly get another? He can. That's going to be two for him. Both headshots on the round. Double kill so far. Forrest and Grixer, the ACOG brothers, the only two that can possibly hold down bar and prove me wrong. Still plenty of damage done to Tempo Storm, but Grixer gets his head removed for him, put right into the guillotine. Now it's all down to the last remaining member, but it's not even going to matter. Bar stock sucks as a site, but eUnited's pretty good at running it.
Forrest doesn't even try to go for the clutch, unfortunately, just kind of sits there and eats it. So that's going to lead to the end of the round. Tempo will, kind of predictably take control of the bar and stock site attack, and with that, be able to tie up the scoreline at 3-3, sending us into the second half, where now we have Tempo on the defense and eUnited on the attack. Few extra bonus points to eUnited there for at least, getting creative with their site choices, but not this time. Just not working out, unfortunately. The aggression just not leading it anywhere near the number of kills they would have needed to get for that site defense to be a victory.
Yeah, and also for Tempo Storm, it was just the kills that came alive for them. eUnited getting aggressive at some very weird instances. I'm still very surprised that they didn't know that the Thatcher was on main stairs as well. But again, the audio inside of Siege sometimes is very finicky. So again, that's just kind of whatever.
Just a bit of a really weird choice at the end of the day from eUnited, given that if the playstyle from Tempo was a little bit quicker, I could see where they would have done it, because that's where they would have been able to probably find success with their own aggression in the early round if Tempo wasn't necessarily expecting it. But with Tempo already playing this hyper careful attack, I don't see where they thought the bar strat was going to work.
I also don't see how they thought that the rotation downstairs was going to be successful at all. Just because, okay, obviously playing downstairs is more than likely going to be your best bet for that site if you're going to rotate. You don't want to try and rotate upstairs. That's going to be the main area where eUnited, or excuse me, Tempo Storm at the time wants to be. So it's just a very difficult site. It's very, very, very hard to play. Even sitting here going through it while they were putting their reinforcements in and trying to think back about how this site was set up previously on the old Clubhouse and even on new Clubhouse, I really don't see any of the redeeming qualities where teams will want to run this inside of their regular setups. It's honestly really good for a surprise, but The only thing that I could see possibly helping out teams a lot would be a Pulse. I would love to see a Pulse on that site played downstairs. He's super safe. I'd love to see him with the cardiac sensor down there. It goes through all of the levels. It's been tried and tested on Consulate. That's one of the most played maps for Pulse is Consulate, just because of that flooring. Oh my God.
How did he get out of there?
Speaking of things being floored, Grixer's head is all the way in the rafters right now. Somebody's taking that home as a souvenir.
He knows he's on stream. He knows he's on the stream.
That was disgusting from creators.
Man, it's they get 3 people shooting at him, and somehow he gets out of that one alive as he finds the player right on top in a pretty late position on the spray too. So great stuff from creators to make it out of that one. United, of course, are going to look for a trade back. We already see some of the soft destruction being done from that top hallway down into the main basement hall. And in the process of this, Forest is also going to start his work on the hatches, at least the one in bar. I don't know if the other one leading to blue has already been dealt with. Kitchen hasn't been opened up. And in the meantime, Tempo is also able to find another strike here as they're able to take out Yeti with a Nitro.
Well, the troublesome thing is we've done a lot of comparison stats on what happens with EU when they bring Ying and when they don't bring Ying. And Ying isn't very useful when she's dead, especially since those Candalas and smokes have to be used by her. So Grixer off the field means that that's going to hinder the entry a lot. Only remaining members are the Zoe, Maverick, and Thermite. So double hard destruction as well as a entry slash flex pickup here for EU. See if they can be successful with that, but they still have Crazy up, and this is going to be a lot of intel for the defense. Forest finally going to get a kill here with the frag grenade, but it's immediately brought back by Tempo Storm. eUnited not in the best spot right now.
Bringing this down into just 2 players left for the United attack. 50 seconds remaining as well here. So they do have a good amount of time to be careful with their attack. We're going to see Crazy get given a little bit of a boost here since he's probably the most mobile player of the 4 remaining. Them needing to use the cardiac sensor, of course, to try and get intel. Away from that, we're going to see an attempt to quickly open up the wall, but as they tried to flash over it, Mark committed his own push, and now they can't even get the wall open as the process would never even started. Mark completes the push, lines up that final pick against Alfalma, and Tempo have themselves yet another round as they take the opener for the second half.
Great plays there from Tempo Storm at the end of that round. Good utility usage as well. In tandem with each other, good teamwork. Impact, open that single panel and have your duck go to work with that MP5. For eUnited, though, just initially not the best when it comes down to being able to refrag, and that's where the trouble really hits, especially with that early pick onto Grixer. That's most of their utility as well for not only execute, but to also burn with. She does have both of those smoke grenades, but what we've seen from eUnited and their style of play with Ying is that they really like to use Ying as a strictly execute-based operator. They don't burn very often with her utility. They'd much rather use it to actually work their way into sight and cut off sight lines, and that's what made it so difficult in that last instance, not having Grixer up for those smokes as well as those stuns so they could get aggro towards church or something along those lines was the downfall of eUnited. And that's the troublesome thing is if we look back to the previous map, the only 2 rounds that they were able to pick up were without Ying, but now it seems that whenever Ying gets picked off, or at least within the previous round, they're slowing down quite a bit. Granted, on Clubhouse, there is a lot of crossfires you have to worry about, as well as default angles like that panel that we talk so much about downstairs.
So we do have Ying back into the picture here for eUnited. Back to the old roots of their strategies here, and we'll see how well they'll be able to execute upon that. Still bringing the double hard breach here as well, with Forest coming onto the Maverick in case that proves useful for them in a late round situation, so they have to breach in from like construction or something like that, as well as the garage walls themselves if Callout has any problems getting things open with his 2 exothermic turns. Not that we would necessarily expect that to be an issue, given that the defenders have no real way to deny a lot of that. The biggest one deny we would see would come from like an impact grenade and a trick if they were trying to open up the garage panel or something similar on another part of the map. But either way, quick progress is being made here by eUnited. They're going to go immediately for the balcony wall. We'll use Forest to get it done instead of having the Thermite do it for them. Actually, never mind. No, they were going to have the Thermite do it. Sorry. Forest in the area. So very quickly they'll pop that one back open, and like has been the trend here so far, the wall not being too much of a contested point, it's going to get popped right open by the attackers.
I never expect that wall to stay closed anymore, ever. That wall is going to be the first thing open every single time that Clubhouse CCTV's played.
The trick era is pretty much over. How is that little panel still there? Is there like a corner of it?
Yeah, I think there's just a corner hanging out. Very unfortunate.
I was wondering how it was like, was that thing floating? Like,
It happens to the best of us. Happens to the best. But looks like they're going to be going for a garage execute now, United. And speaking of what we were talking about before with the denial meta, we haven't seen that happen in a very long time, which means that we haven't seen like the initial garage take that we're used to seeing either. A lot of teams will posture up on the roof to see if they could possibly rotate towards construction, or if there's anywhere else that they would really want to gain control of that could possibly assist them more than taking garage if they were able to possibly get a pick over towards cash or something like that. But everyone right now, at least inside of the clubhouse game, is still the CCTV wall into that garage take. They just go about it in a different fashion because of how the operator bans have been going.
More spam coming in from eUnited as they try to open up an attack avenue in the garage. Very heavily focused on that right now. Craters, in the meanwhile, looking for an aggressive hop out. Takes him a minute to find his target, but instead it's going to be Crazy that lines up the kill. Craters will instead be eliminated by Yeti on the fallback and only have that little bit of damage he did to show for it.
And Call Out immediately hitting the deck and keeping himself alive. I thought he got down there for just a second, but now the Candela's in. His garage becomes a haze. Are they working their way up the staircase? I can't even tell. No, it's actually the Ying that's already been killed. That was inside of Secret, it seems like. Yeti, though, very quick up the staircase. Mark not even ready for that. Yeti, though, all of a sudden out of EMPs, and that's very difficult. There is a lot of Legion mines laid around. Crazy's been able to stay alive throughout most of this round, and that means that there's a possibility of anywhere from 5 to around 8 of those goo mines laying on the ground that they're going to have to work their way through.
No more execute utility left on the attackers either. They just have 6 breaching charges is all they have left to use right now. So they have no way to deal with what's on the set right now. Call's going to try to force the issue. Nitro Cell comes in. He tries to shoot it, but no, they're not going to be able to stop it. And even worse, Yeti gets killed while trying to fall back from his forward position. 2 defenders left, all in Alfalma to try and pull off the 2v1. He just doesn't have time. It's going to run out. And Tempo claim round number 8.
Poor eUnited. It's these offensive rounds are just so very difficult. And the thing is you can tell, especially from their previous play, that they've been screaming things. They've been screaming things, excuse me. And they've been running the dry runs for their offensive unit. But their offense still just is missing a couple of very pivotal pieces. It just seems that they're not the best at covering these crosses more often than not, and that's where they get punished quite often. So for eUnited, it's not the fact of the initial things, getting the walls open, getting pressure towards the actual site. It really comes down to simply putting the diffuser down. It seems to be that is where the missteps are happening, at least for Clubhouse.
Yeah, it's really, I would echo those concerns as well. It's all happening seemingly in the late round for them when they're trying to actually get into a post-plant situation. Executing doesn't necessarily seem to be a problem for United. Once they're done with that and they need to focus up on re-securing the area, that's where the issues constantly seem to pop up for them. And it's so unfortunate because, like you said, they're getting so close, especially with some early success in the early and mid-round portions of the rounds themselves, but just not enough to follow through into late rounds so often leads to so many losses. Tempo is up on 5 now with the lead going into their favor. 2 defensive wins in a row. That's going to take them over into Master and Jim for their 3rd and final point on the site rotation.
Yeah, they're like everyone's favorite Lady Gaga song on the edge of glory there, So for eUnited, Again, as we're talking through this, it's very, very rough. I like that they are still bringing Grixer on the Ying, even though the Ying hasn't had the best run this time around for eUnited. I feel that it's a comfortable thing for them, though. Even though Grixer, since the rehost is 0-0-4, his utility has still been working out in certain regards. And inside the last round, we ended up seeing it go off inside of Garage, which helped them get a little bit of pressure in there, at least from Yeti's side. Tempo, though, now inside of Weights, and they've also picked up Crazy, putting him over onto the Clash.
About 30 seconds gone from the round. Not a whole lot happening from eUnited's attack just yet, but all that's about to change here. Creators going to play close angle on the drop from the hatch into Logi, but more than likely he's going to have to fall back. The drone did spot him a second ago. I don't know if Creators is aware of that, but for the time being, he feels confident enough to stick around here and continue holding it. We're going to see the MP going to go in, not only taking out the sights from Creators, of course, but it also deals with the ADS, so Creators no longer has safety if we are going to see some utility tossed out against him.
Well, good start here for eUnited. No initial frags, and we're almost halfway through this round. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Getting rid of the Weights Castle as well. eUnited working that south balcony. Another breaching charge down for Yeti. He's going to blow open Master, but not until he gets to the roof. Doesn't want anyone to hop outside. Good utility usage there, as well as keeping himself safe. We're going to have a lot of damage dealt to Forest, though. I don't know how exactly this happened. It seems that it was the doing of creators. He's already expended a Toxic Babe, and that's a lot of damage dealt to Forest.
United, in the meanwhile, getting a little bit lower on time with the round about halfway done. Like you said, Creators continuing to delay at this hatch seemingly throughout the entire round. He's just been here drone hunting the entire time and has been doing a pretty good job of it. Despite the fact that United has had the intel, they've been unable to follow through with any sort of execute. And the players that have moved in, most notably Forest, have been heavily lit upon trying to take any sort of engagement, bringing him down to about 75 HP. We are going to see the Clash get challenged. She'll nearly be taken out, but Crazy is going to be able to survive the exchange, at least for now, at right around 5 to 10 HP. Still see the Maverick trying to do work to open up the wall, but no! This one is too obvious. Mark's going to be able to read into that one. Shuts down Forest when he tries to re-peek the angle. The drop into the hatch has finally happened here, but does he have the right read onto the situation? Yes! Finally, the Clash goes down, and on top of that, Sloppy's also going to be able to take down Callout. Trades come in from Yeti, though, as once again, he's called out to try and save the day. Now, him, along with Alfalma, trying to bring back the 2v3 situation and get access to the site, but no, not going to happen this time for Yeti. He's eliminated out by Mark, and Alfalma, he's not even in the building anymore. He's on top of Jacuzzi right now trying to reposition.
The entry game for eUnited is just not working right now. No one is moving forward to get the entry frags that they need, and Tempo Storm eventually snuffs them out with utility usage. That's going to be the round right there. Tempo picking up yet another. That's going to be 4 in a row for them. That's also going to bring them to series and map point. For eUnited, they need to figure out this entry game, John. I'm just going to say it real bluntly, and that's it. We're going to be done talking about it after that, because I know that we've kind of been on eUnited's case today, guys. Trust me. But when it comes down to this entry game, this is where you guys need to step up. It's not the fact that you're using your utility wrong. Granted, you did use it wrong in that last instance because Forrest couldn't torch the bathroom wall open. They definitely should have used call out for there. I don't know why they really didn't. But hey, that's for them to figure out. When it comes back to the entry fragging, though, we need to see somebody get aggressive. We need to see somebody capitalize on information. Information dies in Siege so damn fast. And when I mean damn fast, it's like 5 seconds. If you're not on top of somebody within the 5 seconds that someone called them, that man's in Narnia. You have no idea where that guy's going to be. Unless he's standing flat-footed, then obviously that's a completely different story. And eUnited doesn't have somebody that is the go-getter right now to go out and get those entry frags. And that's the part of their game that's falling apart.
All right, so match point yet again for Tempo Storm, and this time it's for real now that they've got the 1-0 lead. Just that one additional round is all they need, and they've got a bigger gap to work with this time too. Back on the last map, it was a 2-round gap. Now it's a 3-round gap, so they've got that extra chance. And on defense to try and close things down, everything is weighing itself to be in favor for Tempo right now. eUnited, things are certainly not looking good, but it's not over for them just yet either. Quick resurgence may bring them back into this map and reopen the possibility to send things onto map 3 and prevent themselves from being placed into the bottom position here for stage 1.
Well, eUnited onto the field now and spawning over next to dirt. Construction side to start here, but definitely not a bad way to do it. Get that dirt tunnel out of the way early on here, get the exothermic down and start working on those other hatches. But we are going to have a 6 pick from eUnited as well. They went away from the Ying. They actually ended up bringing an IQ. That's going to be Grixer running that. So this is going to provide actually quite a few separate counters. Not only is he going to counter out Crazy and Sloppy directly, but he can also find the ADSs of Creator. So there's a lot of stuff here. And just like that, that is the scariest part in the map to play when an IQ is on the field. That's called pulse spot, folks, because he sits there the whole time, and if you just stand there flat-footed with your cardiac sensor out, you're probably going to get a bullet in your head from an IQ.
Nice find from the IQ. Grixer making it quick as well, not spending any time taking the risk on that potentially being a miss. At the same time, Nitros is going to come out from Mark, and that's also going to be a miss, with things looking pretty good for United at the start of this round. They will lose Alfalma in an exchange that happens somewhere else on the map, but ultimately they'll also trade that back out, so still holding the +1 man advantage at a 4v3.
Good stuff to start off here from eUnited. They have the initial pick, and they also got one more as well that was traded, and the only trade was Alfalma. That's not a bad start. It is the Zofia. Granted, her utility will be gone, and that's a lot of burn. And if we look over on the offensive side right now, that actually could hinder them a lot more than I was initially thinking, mainly because Grixer as well as Yeti both have breaching charges, and they really can't get rid of anything else. The only thing that could possibly help them is Yeti with those EMPs. Those are extremely impactful, so Grixer and Yeti could possibly work together to get rid of a lot of those ADSs as well as discs. But don't have to worry about the discs either, because we're just running that Jaeger.
Tempo staying pretty much completely passive for the time being, although you can see through the bars there's a slight potential for a lineup to happen here. I don't think it's going to, given the geometry of the current angles, but
Attackers dropped the diffuser.
they came very, very close to it. And now we're going to see Forrest just pop and open the bar hatch for his team real quick. Another angle of play for them to try and utilize to get into the site a bit quicker here. United, all they have to do is push past the point where they're scared to make the play. This drone's also going to get some good intel. Does reveal the location of Mark. They know he's playing back site on Arsenal now. If they could figure out where Dream along with Creators are playing from, that would be even better. And I'm pretty sure they just got a good idea as to Dream as he used one of his gas charges to work his way out. Creators, though, is not going to be revealed. And in fact, he gets away with two. Still alive as well at over 25 HP. The diffuser is also now onto the ground. United may have just made a fatal mistake off their drone intel and choosing to push that. Even worse now, Tempo is going to find another pickup. Dream gets the lineup on Forest. Yeti is going to be alone, but he finds a nice pickup against Creators. Finally finishing his wrath from inside of Blue. Now Mark and Dream having to push together. They'll use the gas to try and do it. It's going to do a little bit of damage to Mark. This could prove dangerous here, but not dangerous enough, as Dream is able to get that final kill. And off of that, Tempo is going to take control of the second map. 7-3 will be the score line, and a 2-0 on the overall series.
Great series here from Tempo Storm, but eUnited just coming up short in the end. Made some progress, I would definitely say, on their offensive side, but it just was not enough. John, how are you feeling about this series?
Pretty good series overall. I think we got the expected winner out of it at the end of the day. We talked about how this was going to be a series where two teams that had been struggling in the last week were going to have to try and overcome their issues, and that was certainly what it was. Both teams have made notable progress as well, but ultimately Tempo was still looking overall better as a team, and as with that, they were able to take control of a large number of those rounds and take control of the first two maps too, so they'll ultimately be the winner that I expected to come out of this one.
I would definitely have to agree with you, my friend. eUnited not having the best run. Tempo Storm looking good, especially in the frag category. It seemed that the kills were plentiful and good when it came to Tempo Storm, but eUnited, until at least Clubhouse, is not having the best when it came to those entries. But ladies and gents, that's going to do it for myself and John. We got a couple people that are ready on a desk to talk to you guys, so we will be seeing you guys, well, hopefully you guys watch the show later on that we'll be making, but besides that, we will see you guys Monday. Have a good one.
Welcome back, I'm Jackie Jing, and I'm with Veli and Jesse, and Tempo Storm beating eUnited in 2. All right, so interesting match. Let's go to the very beginning. Operator bans. Yeehaw. Why?
Okay.
Why ban Buck, Veli? Talk to me.
So they banned Buck because apparently the homework was done. One of the few things I remember about Tempo Storm and a really big bright spot about what they did, it was against Sonics, and that was when Mark took Buck underneath Cash, and Mark was absolutely dominant. The way he was able to have all that destruction in the Cash room, utilizing the skeleton keys, and then also in server from underneath, he applied so much pressure. I believe he went 6 and 4.5. That was an incredible run by Mark, and it often made Sonics rotate players away from their posts and try to attack Mark. Now that causes a lot of just misdirection in regards to strategy, which opens things up for his teammates. So the ban on Buck, I know it looked confusing at first, and I think it was Blue that caught on to it. No, it was Sam that caught on to it, Stokes. He was absolutely right. Mark was a menace under Cash with him, and the ban, in my opinion, was warranted.
Okay, let's talk about some other unusual decisions. eUnited picked Barstock as their site, Jesse, and that went precisely how you thought it would go down.
Yeah, I mean, Barstock, like, for people who don't follow Rainbow Six maybe as much as we do, this is like a really rare bomb site to see. Like, really, really bad bomb site. Nobody plays here. And so, you know, they go to Barstock and they kind of just run around and try to frag. Obviously, like, the very opening pick was a player running outside of Jacuzzi Wall. You had people running up and down, like, the main stairs. I know Yeti was on the top floor and then he was on the bottom floor. Then he came to the main floor and he died. But it was a lot of kind of just running around and frankly dying. I felt they really needed information. They didn't really have any idea on where players were at. Like, with the Thatcher coming down the main stairs and nobody just had any idea of that, so they were dying to them. I don't know, it just felt like they weren't putting themselves in advantageous situations, and they could have done that sort of a strat on any other bomb site and probably had better results too.
And the turning point, in my opinion, and Jesse, you and I, we touched on it together while it was happening in the game, and I believe Stokes said it again, the man always reads my mind, right? I personally felt like there should have been a post there, and the main reason why I say that, there was a pivotal moment where even though eUnited dropped a player early, they still had a chance to win if they fragged out, right?
Sure.
Around main stairs, I forgot who it was. I got the double kill. I have my notes minimized. But Yeti and Alfalma peaked at the same time from bottom and top of main stairs, and they both died by one player. Now, those peaks, in my opinion, were a bit early. If they had info coming in from a post underneath with the C4, that could have made such a big difference, but they didn't know what to expect until it was too late from peaking.
And we're not trying to beat up too hard on eUnited here. There were just some things that needed to be called to attention, and I do think we need to talk about them failing every single attack. Veli, what changes need to be made?
Entry. They desperately need an entry fragger. One that can make plays. Seriously think about it, okay? It's not me being mean. This is what everyone else is thinking. Take a look at Sonics. Take a look at Disrupt Gaming. You have these new guys. There's this young blood where NJR is the best entry fragger statistically right now with his entry stats. Iconic is making a difference. And, you know, you have the Folks, you have the Mercs. You see how dominant he is. Why don't they have that? That's something that they need. And when Grixer dies with Ying, IQ, or whatever without getting any kills, one kill in the last 6 rounds, that's just not enough. And that's not a downplay on Grixer because he's done well in the past. But Ying was a crutch. And whenever Ying died earlier on, it seemed like there was no real plan outside of playing around her. There was no explosiveness at all. They need someone who can make plays in their own space, and I think they need that. Listen, Jan, I know is a free agent. I would call Mo Digga out of retirement. There's someone out there that can make those plays, but still, speaking about people that can make those plays on the screen, Dream with 13 kills. I love that guy.
Yeah, I think a couple of those attacking rounds were tough for eUnited. Like, one of them was just Dream getting a clutch at the end, and it's hard to really pinpoint why you shouldn't have let Dream get that clutch. I mean, that's one thing. Another one was just really aggressive play. The very first defense from Tempo Storm was just aggro picks from creators and crazy, right? And it's tough in that situation for any team to break out of it. But a couple of those later attacks from eUnited, I think, was where they were struggling, where it's like, use some more of this utility, give yourself an advantage. A lot of times it felt like we had 30 seconds, and it was just eUnited running into the bomb site without any real like way that they were going to win it. You know, it's just going to come down to gunfights, and the defenders have the positioning. You know, they have the angles, they have intel on which doors you're going to be running in through. Yeah. So you really don't have a high chance of winning those. And it never felt like eUnited were doing a good enough job of like securing a solid, okay, this is why we're going to win our gunfights.
All right, well, gentlemen, we have Dream on deck. Dream, huge congrats on this victory here. I want to talk to y'all about why it was so important to get this win. So how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. We finally got our first win of the season, and it's just really exciting.
Yay.
So.
Oh, I can hear the excitement in your voice. And, you know, we were saying this earlier, the analyst and myself, you know, there's just so much pressure. You definitely don't want to be last, and y'all made a statement today. You know, it has been a rough start to your season. Can you talk to me about the weaknesses that y'all have targeted and changes that you've made?
I mean, honestly, we to start off the season, we had a lot of internal issues like communication and just working together. We were a newer team after just picking up Sloppy, so we had to figure all that out and move around the roles a little bit. But I think it's looking a lot better now.
And you did quite well today, sir, so congrats to you personally. Can you tell me what your mindset was going into this matchup? I mean, were you out for blood? I mean, I'm sure you wanted this win badly.
Yeah, before the game, I pretty much said, yo, we're not losing this one. And we just fragged out and did everything we could to win.
All right. Well, I do want to talk to you a little bit about what's ahead. So you could potentially play DG or Sonics next week. How do you think you're going to line up against those teams? Are you fearful about playing either of them?
Well, me personally, I'm not afraid of any team. I mean, it's as simple as we play our game, we do our homework, we do what we got to do, we get in there, we win the game, and it's over with. So hopefully with the changes we made within the team and the role swaps we did will make those games in our favor next time.
I love the confidence. So to all of your fans watching at home, what do you want to tell them? What is your team's goal moving forward?
I mean, our team's goal is to win out, win the rest of the games. We're sick of losing. So we're coming back with a vengeance, and we're going to win out. I just want to thank all the Tempo supporters. I know we've been through a rough patch, but hopefully that's over now and we're ready to go.
All right. Thank you so much, Dream, and congratulations again.
Hey, Jackie, stay on with him.
Okay, we're staying on with you.
Dream,
hold on, don't go away.
Tell Dream I said congratulations on his proposal. Him and his fiance are beautiful.
Oh, my gosh, did you hear that? Oh, huge congrats. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Double win for you. Got the win and you got the lady. Aw, okay. Now you can go celebrate. We got that in there. Thanks so much, Dream.
Thank you. Have a good night,
guys. Bye. Oh my gosh, he's so adorable. All giggles, super happy.
Yes.
Veli, I'm glad you gave him that shout out there. I loved his confidence there. You know, he's like, we ain't losing anymore. Like, I really, really enjoyed hearing that. But we'll see how they fare. I did want to talk to y'all a little bit about, you know, how you think that they will line up against potentially Disrupt or Sonics. Do you think Tempo's a new team, that they've made the changes needed to be successful against these teams?
I think, yeah. I think that they've got at least a good shot. Do I favor them against a team like Disrupt or Sonics? Probably not. I'm probably not going to pick them like 50-50, but yeah, sure, 20, 30, 40% chance. Very doable. I think particularly against Sonics right now are a bit of a wild card because, again, they've had a lot of like just sub issues and visa issues, so that's probably going to be more likely for them to take it because Sonics can be unpredictable with how good they're going to be on any given day. But, you know, Disrupt can too, so absolutely, Tempo Storm have the opportunity to win those games and, of course, make it to that North American qualifier.
I'll be completely honest. I said it before the series started. Yes, they made a few road changes, and some of these players look extremely comfortable. Like, I harped on Mark and his consistency. I've really loved Mark the last 2 play days. So these players are stepping up. Sloppy he's shutting me up, and I feel like they need to continue doing that. Like Jesse said, I'm not going to predict them to win matches in the future against Disrupt or whatnot, but I expect them to still have a chance to win. They're not that bad.
without question, we're seeing improvement for them, so that's always a great sign. And they got the victory tonight, so big congrats to them. But let's move on to our Corsair play of the day. Gentlemen, what are you thinking it is?
I mean, it's gotta be the ace, right?
It's the ace.
I thought so.
It's gotta be.
It's gotta
Give it
be
to
the
Merc.
ace.
If it's not Merc,
Yes,
face
Merc,
it. I
Merc,
quit. I
Merc,
quit.
Merc,
Bring it.
Merc. Okay, and let's roll the Corsair play of the day. And it is...
Yes.
Yes.
There's nothing
we
more.
love to see it.
Nothing more important
You know
in my
what?
life than correctly predicting this.
You know what was beautiful
Yes.
about this? Merc, honestly, like being entirely honest, Merc was just slacking. And TSM, they really needed him. They desperately needed him.
Yes.
And for all the games that they played, this was the most important one for him to really step up. And he did it. I'm so like just proud of him for just, defeating whatever he was going through mentally. He won that challenge. He won that battle. And now Merc is back. And now everyone that dumped on Merc, they can now eat their words and shed it. Because my boy is back, and he's one of the best entry fraggers in the game. So it's good to see TSM just firing off on all cylinders.
And those kills were so
love a
nice
comeback.
too. I want to see him in a montage.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Please.
Yes, indeed. Very much deserving of the Corsair play of the day. But let's look over the bracket really quickly and recap the day. And Jesse, could you break down Group B for us, please?
Sure, so Group B now has its first loser. We know the team that will not be headed to the North American qualifier. That's going to be eUnited. They just lost 2-0 to Tempo Storm after losing 2-1 to Sonics a little while ago on Monday. That leaves Disrupt, Sonics, and Tempo Storm still in it. Now, one of Disrupt Sonics will be making top 2 for sure. That means they're going to be in the North American qualifier. The loser of Disrupt versus Sonics will play Tempo Storm for that last NA qualifier spot. So there's very important games. The rest of the matches in Group B all have really major consequences. So make sure you're watching out for those.
Valley, Group A.
Group A, the best of the best from all of NA, the top 4. It was really unfortunate to see Dark Zero not win a single map here in Phase 2. So Dark Zero, they're going to be the only team out of the entire 4 from Group A that will not be automatically secured in that NA major spot. So what does that mean? Dark Zero, they will battle it out with the top 2 teams from Group B in a qualifier in order to play with the big boys.
All right. Well, we are super excited to see those matchups. We will have some more professional play for y'all next week. We also have the Canada Division and Challenger League on Friday. And do not miss on any of the Rainbow Six Siege action. Make sure you follow us on our Twitter and our Instagram account. But we really appreciate y'all watching. Big thank you to our casters. Big thank you to our analysts. Big thank you to our crew behind the scenes. We love y'all. But have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Bye.
15 seconds to go.